San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And happy Friday, everybody out there in America's finest city. Braden Surprenant, Frank Marchese, the Braden Surprenant Show has taken over the airwaves for the next 4 hours on a City Connect Friday. Look at that. Little mix-up there on the graphic. I like it. Is this the debut of the City Connect Friday graphic for us?
No, I think this is the second time we pulled it out.
Because we didn't do it last week. They didn't even do City Connects last week. I think
they were on the road last week.
No, they weren't. It's because it was the 4th of July.
Oh, that's right. That is right.
So, what I was going to say, I don't think the 4th of July hats would have worked with the City Connect jerseys. Did anybody wear a City Connect jersey on the 4th of July? I don't think anybody did.
I don't think so.
Not off the top of my head. Did anybody wear them that weekend? Like maybe every MLB team was like instructed, you will not wear City Connects this weekend.
No,
because it would look bad with the hats.
Because there are some teams, like I know the Mets do theirs on Saturday. They don't do theirs on Friday.
Right. Did they do them on that Saturday against the Yankees?
I'm pretty sure they did. Like I think Cincinnati does theirs on Saturday and not Friday.
So maybe that was the deal. We had an interesting conversation off air. We're going to talk about the Padres, but we got a cooler packing problem with Over the Line right now. And maybe we'll get to that later on the show.
I think that'll be our bite down.
Frank was calling out Sushi Sam for his cooler packing already.
After you were calling him out.
Well, yeah, I have my own gripes with Sushi Sam in the chat on some things. I might have to lay the entire situation out and see what the people think. I'm at that point in time. Cooler packing for OTL tomorrow. Is this a tease? It might be a tease. I think the way that you were packing the coolers, nice. I think you would like my way of packing a cooler now. I think it's a hack. I really do. Maybe we'll get to that later. Let's talk about, put a voting poll in the chat. I think that's a good call. Can we do that? Do we have the ability to do that on YouTube? Can we put a poll in the chat?
I think we can.
Can I do that?
I'd have to figure it out.
Moderator? I don't know how to do that. That's technology above my...
I know on Twitch you can, but I'm not sure on YouTube.
All right. Well, anyway, let's talk about the Padres. Oh, and there it is. We're already off to a hot start on a Friday. Let's try this again.
Oh, goodness.
And on the robot again. And I'm going to do this again. They redid everything too. So now, there we go. All right. Let's lock in with the Padres here. Last night, the W. Overall, you actually saw some production out of the top guys in the order, which is great, all collectively. Manny hit a pump. Fernando hit a pump. Should have had 2 pumps. Xander Bogaerts was able to drive in a run. That was some of the first time that you've seen those guys all do that this year. It's great. Maybe you saw a little bit of the Padres getting their offense figured out. But again, as mentioned before in a Kevin Acee newsletter, on Monday, let's think of the same thing after recapping the series against the Texas Rangers. They have an interesting couple of days against the Philadelphias. Yes, that is their real name. That's what Phillies is short for. I asked the kids on my football team this morning if that was the dumbest name they've ever heard. Do I need to ask Frank that question? I mean, I think he's biased. Is the Philadelphia's the dumbest team name you've ever heard? Or is it clever? Like, I don't. It's like the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah, the Angels.
The Angels. What's dumber, the Angels from Spanish to English, or the Philadelphias?
Honestly, I'm going to go to Cars for this one because Ferrari named one of their supercar models La Ferrari. So it's the Ferrari. That's not great.
That's not great either. The Philadelphias. Metropolitans is rough. I disagree. I think Metropolitans blows away Philadelphias, which might be the dumbest name in sports. But they're a good team, and they come in this weekend, 3 games. The last 3 games, the Padres will have to play the Philadelphias before the end of 2025. Maybe you have to see them in the playoffs. Hopefully they win at least one of those games and go 500, as we mentioned, these last 4, as they won last night against Arizona. Again, with the offense, looked a little bit better. There's a couple of things that you want to pull out of yesterday's game. One, and I think the most glaring thing, was Fernando looks like he's about to get hot. Fernando looks like he's about to get hot. He hit the home run early in the game. He roped that ball into left field as well. He had a good performance against Arizona, and he was close to potentially having 2 home runs, as one of them was robbed in center field, which obviously you can't really complain too much about, since the Padres stole a victory like that a couple of nights before with Fernando and Jackson Merrill. What's been different for Fernando? Well, a couple of things. This was what Fernando said last night. Because so often when Tatis starts to find his way out of a slump, as he appears to be doing on this homestand, he was 8 for 25 with a double, a triple, and a home run. There's a couple of things that usually are the reason for Fernando's turning things around. He said yesterday, just working, better approach at the plate, working with hitting coaches, working with my pops. He was here, so I'm just trying to find the best way. Well, I'll be darned. Fernando Tatis Sr. is in town. As mentioned in Kevin Acey's daily newsletter, the elder Tatis, a former major leaguer who has always been his son's biggest influence, harshest critic, and most trusted teacher, arrived in San Diego at the start of the homestand. All of a sudden, Fernando's starting to get hot a little bit. I think Fernando might he's probably about to go on a tear. Tatis said it's a daily conversation without elaborating on their work together over the past week, seeing stuff, feeling the game, seeing how I'm being pitched, and better adjustments mechanically. It kind of goes back to the story that Xander Bogaerts told the other night to Bob Scanlon when he was in his worst slump of his career, which is not this year. In his worst slump of his career in Boston, he got a phone call from Andrew Jones out of nowhere. And Andrew Jones told him, you look like you're struggling, and this is what you got to do. You got a lot of people telling you what you should be doing. You got a lot of people telling you how you should be fixing your swing, how you should be getting out of this slump. Find the one person you trust the most and only listen to them. And for Xander Bogaerts, it was Victor Rodriguez back in Boston, where he was his hitting coach. And for Fernando, it's his dad. It's Fernando Tatis Sr. And so I think Fernando is going to start coming out of this a little bit, as you saw yesterday. He was hitting some seeds yesterday, even balls that he might have got out on. His at-bats look better. He looks more focused at the plate. And if it wasn't for Jake McCarthy robbing a home run, he could have had 2 homers last night, which the Padres already had 2 homers on the night. That was crazy. Fernando hit a home run. Manny hit a home run. Manny's was smoked. And offensively, Padres looked a lot better. They're going to need some of that in the second half of the season. We talked briefly yesterday about Sean Murphy, a little bit about Jarren Duran. According to the beginning portion of today's newsletter by Kevin Acey, it sounds like from most people in the front office, the Padres have every intention of bolstering their offense via trade this month. They believe they can produce at least one bat to add much-needed depth to their lineup. They might end up adding a catcher from the outside, though they will first attempt to do so with an internal option. That's obviously Luis Camposano. I've talked about the Sean Murphy thing. I've been kind of against it. I've really been against the Jarren Duran potential move too, because I vision this as being one of those deadlines where you end up giving up a little bit too much, and then all of a sudden you have these guys under contract for multiple years, and they start to decline in production, and then everybody complains that they suck. I just feel like that's the writing on the wall with Jarren Duran and Sean Murphy. And I don't know if the Padres can pull off both of those things. But the more I looked at it, the more I talked about it yesterday on the show, the more I started to really believe that, okay, it makes a little bit of sense. Now, that being said, I don't know if they can get both of those players. In fact, I would probably say they can't. But I would imagine those are probably the two players that are highest on the radar for A.J. Preller and the San Diego Padres, because these are the players that you're seeing leaked out throughout the experts and the insiders of Major League Baseball. Jim Bowden talked about it yesterday, how the Padres were trying to prize Sean Murphy from the Atlanta Braves. That doesn't mean they're close. That doesn't mean the Braves are interested. All it means is the Padres would like to do it. Tampa Bay is the other team that would like to do that. So if you look at from a perspective of what they could potentially put together with a lineup with Murphy and Duran, I think the Padres could be in a really good spot. Here's the other thing with the national writers. A.J. Preller usually pulls fast one. They could really pull a fast one on him. But when A.J. Preller goes and gets somebody that is not being talked about, it's usually a better ad than what the players were that were mentioned in national media. I think the lineup would be pretty good. And the thing is, it solves a lot of your problems. We're going to take a deeper dive into that. Mike Shildt joined the morning show. We're going to hear some of that here later on in this hour. We're going to do our usual San Diego FC talk today, later on in the show. Got a lot planned for today's show. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Just getting started on the Braden Surprenant show on San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. 10:18 on a Friday morning. Getting ready for a fun weekend, an over-the-line weekend here in America's finest city. Over-the-line starts up tomorrow morning. I think a lot of people will be out there getting their tents and everything set up tonight. I'll be out there to swing a little bit later on this afternoon. Getting excited for the on-back over-the-line World Championship. Be playing tomorrow in the men's open division. There's a lot of other divisions too. And if you haven't checked it out or you want to go out and see what it's like, you can go out there and see what's going on. If you're going to do that, I recommend getting down there as early as humanly possible. Also, you should probably be 18 years old, minimum. And just remember the rules. No Bowsers, no bicycles, no bottles, no bad attitudes. I think no babies, too. There might be another one I'm missing. Just don't bring your dog and don't bring glass bottles. And don't ride your bike down there. Probably not going to end well if you violate one of their 5 Bs. So we talked a little bit about this Sean Murphy thing. It happened yesterday near the end of our show. Again, what you expect with Sean Murphy, again, he's hitting 226 this year, 20 runs scored, 32 RBIs, 13 home runs. He's only had 186 at-bats and has a 1.8 B-WAR. He's only played in 57 games. Remember, he was injured at the beginning of the season. He is a guy that has been injured in the past, in stints with Oakland and already in Atlanta. Padres would love to pry him from the Atlanta Braves. I don't know how likely that is, but adding him would solidify that you don't have to worry about the catching position until Ethan Salas comes up. For $15 million a year, as the going rate for Sean Murphy, that's pretty good numbers for a catching position. You don't have to worry about catcher for the next 4 years. Again, he's under contract until I think 2028, if I'm not mistaken. He's under contract. Oh, he's actually under contract past that. 2028 is his last year, and if he does well, in 2029, the Padres can pick up his option, which is a club option, for $15 million in 2029. So you wouldn't have to worry about catcher for the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years potentially, and it would pay him, or it would have him on the team until he's 35 years old. Interesting, to say the least. Now that being said, the Braves have said that they're not willing to really trade anybody that's not on a 1-year deal. So Osuna, who's been battling injuries, would be available. Raisel Iglesias would be available. Rafael Montero would be available. And that's basically it. And maybe a guy like Pierce Johnson, I guess, but he's got a $7 million club option. So from that perspective, you would think the Braves would not swing a Sean Murphy deal. Again, the thing with the Braves, and which makes it interesting in terms of like a trade piece, the Braves every year are usually competitive. Right now, they're 12 games under 500, but they have all these stars locked in for a long period of time. Why would they do a rebuild? They won't. They won't do a rebuild. They won't even do like a retrofit with their roster. They can continue to roll out what they have. They've dealt with injuries. They've had to miss most of the season with Jurickson Profar not being part of it. So overall, there's still a pretty good unit intact. And now what people would say against this is, well, if you look at the catching situation, Drake Baldwin is the catcher of the future, and he's under contract for a long period of time. But the Braves have always had, it seems like, 2 really good catchers. They value that. You know, having good catchers is almost like the quarterback position in the National Football League. In the NFL, you have elite quarterbacks that can win you games by themselves. They're the elite level where if you have this guy on your roster, you're always going to be in contention. The Patrick Mahomes of the world, the Tom Brady's of the world, you know, Peyton Manning. I think the big era of those elite quarterbacks is trending towards almost being over. You know, this particular group of quarterbacks, I think you could probably say it about guys like Lamar Jackson. You're always going to be competitive. You know, I think you can make the case for a decent, like guys like Josh Allen. I think you can make the case for Justin Herbert. I mean, these are guys that, regardless of what team they're on or what the resources are around them, you're going to be really competitive with them at quarterback. The comparison to catcher is there's not a lot of catchers that go around. So to go back to the quarterbacks real quick, there's the elite level of quarterback, and then there's like solid quarterbacks, but they need a little bit of help. And then there's the guys that are game managers. They really need to have a good team around them, and they just need to not mess it up. And then there's just a bunch of other players that are just never going to be at that level of being successful as an organization with them at quarterback. I think the same thing can be said about the catching position in Major League Baseball. There's not a lot of them around that are that elite level where we got hitting down and we got a good receiver and we got a good defensive position back there at the backstop. There's not a lot of those guys. JT Realmuto is one of that comes to mind. He's a little bit up there in years, but he's one of those guys. Salvador Perez is one of those guys. I think you can make the case, even though offensively he's not having the greatest year, you got a guy like Adley Rutschman being one of those guys. So when you have one of those guys, you don't want to get rid of them. Same thing with like a good backup quarterback, too. You don't necessarily want to get rid of them. You can't go find these players off trees. If you look at a guy like Kyle Higashioka last year, he's probably in that, as long as there's a lot of good talent around him, he probably thrives. And you can win with a guy like Kyle Higashioka. Unfortunately for the Padres in their catching situation, their two catchers are in the level of the team. I mean, they're too much of a detriment in all aspects to overcome the pros that they bring in terms of handling the pitching staff. And we heard that from Jason Adam yesterday on our show. He praised Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado for how they have been in handling the pitching staff. That's great. But unfortunately, they are so poor at all of the other aspects of the game, it doesn't outweigh or benefit, or really basically, it doesn't justify the means of keeping them on the team. So if you think about it from that perspective, again, good quarterbacks, you want to try to keep them. There's not a lot on the table, right? There's not a lot out there on the market. The Braves have valued the catching position where they have had two really good catchers with a lot of their teams in the last couple of years. So you have the Braves with Sean Murphy under contract for a long time, and you have Drake Baldwin, who's the next up-and-coming catcher. That's kind of a situation that Atlanta likes. I don't know if they would want to part ways with that. Would you be willing to get rid of Ethan Salas for a guy like Sean Murphy? I say no. Because what happens at the end when Sean Murphy is done with his contract? He gets start back up again at the catching position instead of having your guy that was going to be that premier catcher, right? That premier quarterback that is expected to be the guy where you don't have to worry about touching that position for as long as he's employed by the team. These are things that the Padres have to think about instead of just going like, we need a catcher, let's go get Sean Murphy. It's not that easy sometimes. The A's have already said that they don't want to trade Shea Langoliers. But Sean Murphy's interesting because of the Drake Baldwin situation. I just had to lay that all out before you even start thinking about the Padres potentially getting Sean Murphy, even though it has been reported that they would be interested in prying him from Atlanta. I think a lot of teams would be interested in doing that. But if you worked out something where the Padres could be creative, which is what Jeff Passan said AJ Preller needs to do in terms of potentially trading Robert Suarez to a team, and then that team is trading starting pitching or something to Boston, in which Jarren Duran comes to the Padres on a 3-team trade. It's possible. So if they could get creative with it, you add a couple of those guys, I think targets like Jarren Duran and Sean Murphy, all of a sudden your lineup drastically changes. You got Jarren Duran batting leadoff, Fernando batting second, Manny third. Go Arise 4, you can go Sheets, Merrill, Xander, Sean Murphy, Jake Cronenworth. I don't really care how you put those guys in any order. But all of a sudden, your automatic outs that are in the order are no longer automatic outs. In fact, they probably moved to the bench. So it's an interesting topic of discussion. This trade, like I'm saying, those are two good, solid bats. Probably near the upper echelon when it comes to the left field and catching position. But you got a leadoff guy in Jarren Duran. He's always been a leadoff guy. He gets a lot of at-bats. He steals bases. He hits a lot of triples. He could bat leadoff for you. You could move Fernando in a different role. You could have him bat 1 or 2, whatever you want to do. But it lengthens the lineup. It drastically changes the offense for the San Diego Padres. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Lot to break down from Mike Shildt on with the morning show. We're going to get to that when we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Baseball coverage on 97 to the Fans presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com to get a great deal on iPhone 16 Pro. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. Leading you up to Gwen and Chris before they pass the baton to the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show and Sam Levitt as the Padres get ready to take on the Phillies. Now, today, very important. Very big news today, Frank. Do we know about the big news today, Frank?
No.
The big news on Gwen and Chris today?
Oh, yes, we do know the
Huge
big
news on Gwen and Chris today. Manny Machado is going to be on Gwen and Chris today.
There you go.
How about that, huh? Okay.
Definitely take a listen there.
So Manny Machado is going to be on with Gwen and Chris today. We don't know about the time yet exactly, but it sounds like he will be joining Tony Gwynn Jr. and Matt Scravey down at the ballpark today, live in the dugout. That should be fun.
Absolutely.
That's going to be great. I was fired up for that. So, again, we don't know the time. They're going to wait for Manny to show up. He usually rolls in around 3 or 3-ish.
They're doing the show from the ballpark today?
Yes, in order to get this interview done.
There you go.
So we'll see Adam here in a couple of hours. Can help them out. But Manny Machado is going to be on Gwen and Chris. I can't tell you the time. So you're going to have to listen to all of Gwen and Chris today. Starting at 2 o'clock. It could be early. It could be late. Who knows?
Why wouldn't you be listening to all of Gwen and Chris to begin with?
There's a lot of people, maybe.
It's perfect. It's right in the middle of traffic time. You should be listening
Dang
to
it.
all of the... Okay.
You should be.
That happens one more time. We're just leaving the cameras backwards today.
All right. We're back on the camera thing. So, yeah, Manny Machado on Gwen and Chris. Stay tuned. It's going to be great. If you haven't done so already, give us a like on the YouTube page. Hit the thumbs up. As we do a little housekeeping here, you can follow us on social media at B_SURP, at BSURP. You can follow the show at B_SURP show. You can also follow Frank Marchese at FMARKZ324 and follow 97 through the Fan SD on Twitter as well. Follow my Instagram and my TikTok. Same handle as before at B_SURP. Also, we are trying to boost our subscribers for the Braden Surprenant Show page. We post other things on there as well. If you haven't done so, it takes 2 seconds to do. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it's free to subscribe to the Braden Surprenant Show page. It is posted in a link at the bottom of this YouTube video. We made it easy for you. We have a link for every single one of our social media accounts where you can click on it and follow us if you haven't done so already. Give us a subscription. It's easy. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. It's a simple click. And then you are able to just go find our shows immediately. I've fixed the echo. So be sure to subscribe to the show at B_SURP. All of our shows can be listened to in podcast form on Apple Music, on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. If you missed any of the audio, you can re-listen to it. So you don't have to pull up YouTube on your phone when you're driving down the ballpark today. You can just throw it on Spotify, Apple Music, anything like that, and listen to our show in podcast form. Super easy. So again, hit the like button right now if you haven't done so yet. It helps us out. It helps push the show out, gives us good numbers, and subscribe to the Braden Surprenant Show page at B_SURP on YouTube. YouTube.com/B_SURP will take you right there. There's a giant button that says subscribe. Click it. Huge. Helps us out. Now, with all of that taken care of, here's what happened earlier today on the manager's report with Mike Shildt, refreshed by Ecowater SoCal. Mike was a little long-winded today. A lot of long answers. But what we want to start with in this segment is the team's play in July. His assessment of the team's play in July, in which this month, still just getting started, with an all-star break in the middle of it, has been win-loss, 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 win. They haven't won more than 2 games in a row all month. They haven't lost more than 2 games in a row all month. 3 games left before the ceremonial first half. What did Mike Shildt say this morning on Ben and Woods on the manager's report, refreshed by Ecowater SoCal, talking about the evaluation of the month of July.
It could always be better, but like you said, it could always not be as good as it is. So, what's the assessment? It's interesting, and I'm not sure this exactly to answer your question, but the assessment for me is a lot of good people. At the end of the day, it's about wins and losses, and we've been able to fight and scratch and claw and be able to piece some games together and pull some games out. We've also left some games on the table. But what's the assessment? Guys have been getting out there, and there's zero lack of especially from the staff and the players, desire. That desire part's there, and it really starts with that. There's also the lens of what is good baseball, and like I kind of referenced a minute ago, and to follow up on the point, the left and the right columns are what ultimately matter, the win and the loss. I recognize that, but also look at the game from a lens of more a holistic lens, and always start or we being together with what we're doing, and the group is together. Every team's different. Every team's finding the rhythm of what together looks like. We do have a core that knows what that looks like, and part of that togetherness is the dedication to, at the end of the day, shaking hands. And I can tell you, when we win, we enjoy it, and I want to always celebrate it and talk about that, and want the guys to have fun and see those beautiful smiles that we have, and see the personalities come out. But when we don't, the guys take it hard. That it hurts. That locker room's hurting. But the good news is we are invested in the outcome, so that's a win. And after that, it comes with the pitching. Throwing strikes and doing all the little things that allow you to help win a ball game. And generally speaking, we pitched very well. We've had some times where some walks have hurt us, or a hit batter, or along those lines. Of course, a homer here and there that gets you, but that is going to happen. And but generally speaking, we've taken care of our business on the mound, so I can feel good about that overall. Starters, bullpen, we've been able to have some guys plug in that we've needed to step up, and one of them's going tonight. And Berger, he's pitched well, and he's going to need to pitch well tonight and just do his part, and not do anything more than that, and just not make the situation bigger than it is. So the pitching's been good. Then I look at the defense, and the defense captures a lot. It captures making a routine play. We've done that very well, especially over the last 7 weeks or so, 6 weeks. We've really caught the ball. The great play is a part of it, and the athleticism be on display. Jackson and Toddy, more recently in the same game, robbing a homer, but also defensively is we've done some good things relative to the little things. Last night, Maldy throwing at the back end of a double steal, hitting the cutoff man, and just being fundamentally sound in what we do. We don't really give away a whole lot and haven't defensively. So, when you look at those three things, you go, man, we're playing some really good baseball. And then, the last component of that is, offensively. And, it's the hardest thing in our sport to be consistent at. That's not alibiing anything. It's not, giving the excuse to the guys. It's just a fact. I do a national radio show, and with that, I'm guessing pretty much every manager in the league does through Major League Baseball. And, I've done it for years and established relationships with a lot of the guys that talk to a lot of and I said, hey, I guess is you probably ask about every manager, and there, about 28 managers get to ask the same offensive questions consistently. And, but we're not trying to be one of 28. We're trying to be, one, but, the offense hasn't been as consistent as we'd like. The biggest two things for me is just making sure, and easier said than done. Stuff now is just crazy. I talk to former players that come out and watch games, and I'm not talking former players like it's not like I'm talking to Ozzie Smith more recently. I'll see Ozzie in St. Louis, but guys that have been out of the game for 5-8 years are good players that go, I picked a good time to have my career.
Got out just in time.
Yeah, and so. But again, I don't want to alibi because it's what it is, and
Yeah.
we're a winners find solutions group. So, the harder something is, the more you got to be, you got to bear down and get after it. That being said, as we've been, we got to be more disciplined in the strike zone, and we've got to be a little more consistent with our approach and just try to get that guy in from third base, and but the base running is part of our offense, and overall it's been good. We're one of the better teams in the league at, our leads and the first and second. We do a great job first and third, second to home, first to home. But, so you look up in total and, we do a lot of things really well. So I'm pleased, we get a little more consistent with the hard thing to do, but, that's the job. That's what it's going to call for. We'll continue to be fine, but we're in a good spot overall. And, people would always think, we want to be better. Of course we want to be better, but, that pendulum can go either way.
There's a lot to unpack on that answer, huh? That was long. Was that the 6-minute one, Frank?
Yeah, it just might have been.
There's a lot of coach speak in there. People don't like. One thing on the coach speak is I think a lot of people appreciate it more when you've had coaches and have played sports and, understand that tight-knit group. So there's a couple of things I pick out of what Mike Shildt said, and he kind of rambled a lot. One of them was like, we're a winners find solutions group. I kind of agree with that because the Padres are still, even though they're kind of going up, back and forth, playing 500 ball right now, they're finding ways to win during a lot of stretches in which the team shouldn't be winning. I think we saw that early in the season when they were missing 3 of their core 6. I think we saw that again near the end of May, early part of June. When I was in Italy, it was the same thing. It's like, I can't believe this team is continually like winning games. They haven't been on they haven't been on a lot of long losing streaks this year, and they're finding ways to win with the lineup that they have and the roster that they have constructed. Their biggest holes are obviously, the catching position. They need another bat in left field. Their bench is empty. Their bullpen's being taxed. And they're finally getting some starting pitching back, but they've had a lot of young guys have to, step up and be starting pitchers and try to give you innings as much as they can. So they're playing a little hampered, and they're still finding ways to win. I believe that from Mike Shildt. The other thing that was noticeable, again, they're trying to make small adjustments throughout the season. The thing is with the season, and he said at the beginning part of this answer, wins and losses are the only thing that matters. You can look at the underlying conditions as much as you want. You can see like, oh, well, I can't believe they're winning with this problem or that problem. Like a lot of fans do. Overly freaking out. This team's not going to make the playoffs. And then they play well. It's like, oh, this team could win the World Series. And it's just the knee-jerk reaction crowd that we're trying to help eliminate on this show. Just giving the perspective.
Sandy.
Yes, this show.
My bad.
It's all good. Happens.
He draws the foul.
Guys trying to intentionally foul out on a Friday. Boss, you have lost control. John Coleman said. The end of every KUSI broadcast, or he did his weather report on a Friday night for the PPR. Anyway, back on track. So you can have all those things happen. You can be worried about this, worried about that. They've been slowly making improvements. And I'm going to be honest, I think they collectively play better as a group. Now, that being said, I said it yesterday, and I'll continue to say it. They haven't been fun to watch in the last couple of months. They just haven't. But I think you're starting to see Fernando turn things around a little bit. We've seen Xander now in his last 19 games hit over 300 and produce at the plate. Manny Machado obviously has gotten both of the potential historic accolades out of the way for the season. The 2 he was searching this year, 350 home runs and 2,000 hits. He did both of those. And so now you're starting to see collectively, I think, the offense come together a little bit. That doesn't mean like the bottom half isn't still the bottom half. I mean, that is a major roster problem. if you look at last night, the core six did their job last night. And most notably, the top three that get paid the most money did the job last night. Fernando with a home run. Should have had 2. Manny Machado with a home run. Xander Bogaerts drove in a run when he hit that ball down the line. I mean, so they were doing their job. And then you look at where the Padres ran into issues, it was having their core six on base, and then 7, 8, 9 is up. Jose Iglesias did get a hit last night, but, he's been okay. He's better off if he's coming on the bench as a platoon guy. Not really a platoon guy, but more of a defensive replacement. I think you can say the same thing about Tyler Wade. Good for the local kid in Trenton Brooks having an opportunity to play in the major leagues. But at this point, I'm kind of tired of watching his at-bats. I mean, he's your, what do they call him? Silver bullet off the bench. I mean, if that's your silver bullet off the bench, you're in some serious trouble. And then the catching situation is getting beyond ridiculous. But again, as we mentioned in the last segment, it's hard to go find a catcher. I just think, and it sounds like they're going to try to find an improvement internally first. I'm surprised they haven't tried out Campusano as much as they have. There's obviously something with him pitching or receiving pitchers. Because that's the biggest thing that Mike Shildt always talks about from the catching situation is, like, they're really good. They had to handle our pitching staff. But the offense has been, I mean, they're almost, the Padres are almost playing with a lineup in which they have a pitcher hitting while everybody else is a DH. That's what it looks like. Except you have 2 pitchers hitting at the bottom of the lineup because both of them in 8 and 9 are under 200. And Woods brought it up yesterday on the roundtable. Where's Tyler Wade? Like, why isn't he getting starts here and there? What has Tyler Wade done to get rid of? I mean, I don't know why Tyler Wade isn't getting an opportunity to get a pinch hit up yesterday. They went with Trenton Brooks. I mean, I knew what that inning was going to end. I knew what the result of that inning was going to be when I saw him come up. I mean, he was going to get a hit. Guy's hitting like $160. He had the 1 home run where he jumped on a AAA pitcher, a 4A guy for the Dodgers that made the game close. Chris Paul hit a 3 in that game. And other than that, that's been it. They need some help on the bench. They could use another catcher. They got to be able to find it. I'm curious to see how the Sean Murphy thing plays out. And yes, and I saw earlier in the chat today, somebody was like, well, weren't you like against the Jarren Duran? I am. I've talked myself into it a little bit with either a Jarren Duran trade or a Sean Murphy trade or even both, because I think you're not going to get the player that Jarren Duran was last year. He's probably going to regress a little bit, but he's not going to cost you a lot of money, and that solidifies an outfield for the next 3 years. You don't have to worry about going to get somebody in the offseason. You don't have it fixes a problem for the next 3 years. At least so you have time to retool something in the farm system. I think the same thing about Sean Murphy. I think Sean Murphy, who's coming off an injury this year, who's done a serviceable job, for $15 million to be a starting catcher, I don't think that's entirely bad. And I think that fixes a major problem with this organization for the next couple of years until Ethan Salas comes up. So those 2 ads would fix a major problem for the Padres for the next couple of years. They will not play up. I don't think they will play to the level that they've played in the past. I think you got to expect them to go down in production. And that's why I've talked myself into it a little bit. Only if DeVries and Salas are still Padres when August 1st rolls around. That's the only time it makes sense to me to acquire either of those players or both of them. If they ship off Robert Suarez, you know what? So be it. But I have to say, the nickname the Four Horsemen and what they did last night would actually lead me to say maybe I'm not super thrilled about sending away Robert Suarez. If there was any game to keep the four horsemen in the bullpen, last night was that game. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we start hour number 2 of the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Hour number 2 of the Braden Surprenant Show. Frank Marchese, Braden Surprenant. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube page at B_SURP. YouTube.com/@B_SURP. You will find it. Hit the subscribe button. It's super easy to do. It's right on the homepage. When you get there, there's a little button that says subscribe. Click it. All set. If you need to get to that point, there's a link in the description below, as well as how to follow all of us on social media and how to give us a like. There's a little thumbs up. Click it. Helps us. Does a great job. We appreciate you. To everybody that watches online. We also appreciate everybody that listens out there, driving around in their cars. We'd love to hear from you today. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973 to call into today's show. I want to talk about the Four Horsemen. Not from the book of Revelation, Four Horsemen. But the San Diego Padres, important four horsemen, big four, whatever you call them. The four members of the Padres bullpen, Jason Adam, Jeremiah Estrada, Adrian Morejon, and Robert Suarez, the one that should be pitching every high leverage situation in the postseason. All of those names, I think, are clever names. I love the Four Horsemen. I think that's a great name for a bullpen. Kevin Acee coined them today, Padres life preservers. The Padres this season, when all four of those guys pitch in the same game, the Padres are 14-5. 14-5 when all four of those pitchers pitch in the same game. And there is a definite trend emerging this month. The Padres have won every other game they have played in July, alternating wins and losses for 9 games. And in the past 4 victories, the only relievers to have pitched are Jason Adam, Jeremiah Estrada, Adrian Morejon, Robert Suarez. None of them have pitched in the losses. Adam did allow one run last night, the first of any of the Four Horsemen that have allowed a run this month, albeit very early on in the month. That's the good news. You got a recipe for success back there in the bullpen with those 4. The bad news is a lot of these guys won't be available all the time. And we've talked about this before. Adam will almost certainly not be available tonight against the Phillies because he threw 24 pitches in his Major League Baseball leading 46th game last night. But as we've talked about before when it comes to Jason Adam, we even asked him yesterday. He hates not pitching. He'd pitch every night if he could. I like that attitude. But that doesn't mean his body likes that attitude. He's obviously not available tonight, which means Shildt will likely want to stay away from Estrada and Morejon based on their workloads. So tonight, Padres are going to need a good start out of Ryan Bergert, which was mentioned by Mike Shildt in the manager's report earlier this morning. With the Padres having not scored more than 4 runs in any of their past 8 games and facing Phillies left-hander Ranger Suarez, who not only is a lefty that the Padres can't hit, but he's 7-2 with a 1.99 ERA, they will likely need to rely on some of their lower leverage relievers if they are fortunate enough to have a lead later in the game. Shildt mentioned this. We're good in close games. We do a lot of things well that allow you to win games in total, but also it's legal to win 7-3 or 8-2. Tonight might be not that great of a matchup for the San Diego Padres. They're going against Ranger Suarez. Again, as I mentioned, 7-2 with a 1.99 ERA. He's a left-handed pitcher who, not very good, are the Padres against left-handed pitching. And by the way, I'm going to say it now before people bitch, moan, and complain about it on Monday. Don't expect to see any of the Four Horsemen tonight. So you're left with the other 4 guys, or 3. Wandy Peralta, Yuki Matsui, probably available tonight. Brian Hoeing available tonight. I mean, these are David Moore. I mean, these are the guys in the bullpen that are going to have to win the game tonight. It's interesting to look at this four horsemen. Remember, we talked about it yesterday. I would not be opposed if they had to, because of the bullpen depth, to trade a guy like Robert Suarez away. I think you have any of the other three of the four horsemen that can come in and be a closer. Jeff Passan mentioned it in terms of the situation of the getting creative as to not trade Salas or DeVries. What else is getting creative is trying to figure out ways to improve your team without giving up anything that is a valuable asset for you. A previous note mentioned by, I think it was Bob Nightingale, but I can't remember for sure where I saw it, so I don't want to credit too much. Could have been Dennis Lin, too, in The Athletic. But the other thing was the report of the Padres believe their bullpen is an asset, and they don't want to take away from said asset. Instead, they wouldn't mind adding to said asset. So now you're in a spot where you're thinking about a potential trade, right? Padres need to go get a catcher. Padres need a left fielder. They need a couple of bats here. I think those are easier positions to acquire at the deadline than if they're looking for a starting pitcher. If they're looking for a starting pitcher, they'd be in serious trouble. But Michael King should be coming in the month of August. Yu Darvish is back. He's making a start later on this weekend. He'll go Saturday. Got to find resources to use in order to acquire a Sean Murphy or a Jarren Duran or anybody else that the Padres might have their eyes set on. And who knows if these guys being mentioned are just blowing smoke for the rest of Major League Baseball. But if there was ever a case to not trade Robert Suarez, I thought last night was said case based on having those four guys in the back end of the bullpen being money. Go look at their pitch usage this week. Suarez, Adam, Estrada, and Morejon, as mentioned by Kevin Acee, in the last week have pitched in every win. Matsui, Hoeing, Peralta, Morgan, Nunez were the guys that pitched in losses. The only one to pitch in a win in the last 5 days, not part of the Four Horsemen, was David Morgan, who started said game for the San Diego Padres. Now, looking at the pitching matchups this weekend, should have Bergert tonight, which means they have to make a roster move to put him back on the roster. And your bullpen, who knows what they decide to do? Maybe it's David Morgan. But your bullpen tonight is not going to be Suarez, and it's not going to be Adam, and it's not going to be Estrada, and it's not going to be Morejon, but it's going to be Matsui, it's going to be Hoeing, it's going to be Peralta, and it's going to be Nunez. Or maybe Morgan. Who knows which one they decide to go with. Morgan's had 4 days off after pitching on Sunday. Nunez threw 33 pitches 2 days ago. He might be the odd man out when they decide to make a roster move and go with Berger today. But it's interesting to say. I mean, this is the dilemma that you might have. You got to improve the catching position if you can, but I think left fielder's more important. Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit of your best asset, or should the Padres stick with said best asset and improve on it like the bullpen? I personally don't think the Padres can survive offensively with their roster currently constructed. If giving up a little bit in the bullpen sets this up to get bats back, I think you have to think about it. Having a bullpen called the Four Horsemen is sick. First of all, that's kind of sick. But also, knowing that if those four guys come in, it's almost game, set, match. Are you willing to part ways with one of those players in order to get a catcher? Or in order to get a left fielder? If that's what it came down to. What are you more likely willing to give up? Ethan Salas or one of the Four Horsemen? Leo DeVries or one of the Four Horsemen? Remember, one of those guys is going to opt out of his contract at the end of the year. 3 of them are staying. So it's an interesting conversation to be had when it comes to overall the 4 guys in the bullpen and what you do at the trade deadline. I was all for it yesterday before the game, and then after watching yesterday's game, hey, there's not a lot of teams that have this in their bullpen and pitching wins in the playoffs. What do you think? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Are you willing to part ways with one of the 4 in the back of the bullpen if it means you brought in a catcher or a left fielder? We'll discuss a little bit more about that and get your phone calls when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. The Four Horsemen, huh? Deep cut Frank over there. Who are the Four Horsemen in WWE or wrestling?
It was WCW. The original
WCW.
The original Four Horsemen were Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, and Tully Blanchard, managed by J.J. Dillon.
There you go. Padres got a Four Horsemen in the back of their bullpen. You got to be able to do that and if you want to be successful in the playoffs, right? I mean, what won the Dodgers a World Series last year? It's their bullpen, right? Hey, I think you can win with a strong bullpen and not a strong starting pitching. I think the Padres starting pitching is good. I think the bullpen is solid. The problem is they need some offense. Are you willing to part ways with one of the Four Horsemen in order to improve with one bat for your offense? I'm going to ask the fans that. I'm going to give you my opinion. Frank, what's your thoughts? Are you willing to part ways with one of probably your best asset? So you take away a little bit from your best asset, make it a little bit worse to improve one of your worst assets right now, the bottom of the order, to kind of balance out.
The only thing I could think of would be to give up Suarez would be packaged in that Duran deal. That's the only thing that I would even consider doing. You can't drop Suarez for prospects. Cannot do that. It has to be a major league all-star caliber player.
Well, what I'm saying is at the end of the deadline, you end up not having Suarez and you end up having a Duran or a Sean Murphy.
I would be okay with that.
I would be okay with that too. Because based on what we've been hearing from the minor league system, the Padres got a lot of bullpen arms built up. And it sounds like the bullpen arms in the farm system is probably their best asset. So they are legit across the board. Now, again, go back to the report that we had a couple of weeks ago. The Padres would like to improve on their bullpen more so than taking things away from it. But if that's the case, I don't know what they have to trade. What do you have to trade besides DeVries, Salas, and the bullpen? Unless there's minor leaguers down there that other teams really value. And that, you know what? That might be the case. As we've heard before, other organizations value the Padres farm system a lot better than MLB Pipeline and a lot better than Baseball America and all of the other entities that rank said things.
And I mean, that's where you're looking at a guy like Boston Bateman possibly getting dealt. See what a Boston Bateman can get you. But yeah, I would feel most comfortable giving up Suarez because he is the most likely to not be back next year. So get an all-star, get a major league player for him, and get some use, get one last hurrah out of Suarez before you lose him.
You know, just because you trade Robert Suarez, if you decide to do that, I think out of the four back there, he's the one that makes the most logical sense. He's been okay. I know he's an all-star, and I know he leads the league in saves. I think saves is a situation in which Padres are playing all these tight games. Therefore, he's used a lot. He throws the ball very hard. He can't handle damage, right? But just because you trade Suarez doesn't mean you can't add a bullpen arm. You don't have to add a closer. You have three other guys I feel comfortable in closing. I would feel comfortable with Jason Adam closing a game. He has closing
100%.
experience. I have confidence in a guy like Estrada closing a game. And right now, the way Adrian Morejon is pitching, I have confidence in him potentially closing out a ball game for the Padres. So I think that's all fine. You don't need to add another closer. You can add another bullpen arm, and there's a lot of bullpen arms out there that cost you a lot. Now, I would want to add an Enelo de los Santos, but just think about what the Yankees gave up for another bullpen arm last year. They gave up Brandon Lockridge. I mean, there might be one of those in the Padres organization. So you go and you trade Robert Suarez. It ends up getting you a bat. You get another mid-level reliever that's having a good year. Maybe he's a rental. And so now you have that guy part of the four horsemen in the back with everybody else. I think that's okay. We just added the poll on YouTube. Look at that, Frank. Quick learner. Would you feel comfortable in trading Robert Suarez if it guaranteed an extra bat in the lineup? I honestly would say yes. I'm okay with that. Even though the nickname's pretty cool.
You can always add another
You can
head
add another
to it.
arm, right?
I mean, the wrestling Four Horsemen had like 20 different people come in as the fourth one, so you could always add a different one.
You can add a different. Okay with that. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Super. You're gonna lead things off today. Super in San Diego. What's going on?
Hey guys, what's up? Hey, as far as the Four Horsemen, I like it. I'd love for you guys to see if you guys could share their numbers versus teams with a winning record. Because obviously the Diamondbacks don't, even though they're a solid team. So I wouldn't mind if you guys could share that. I know that's a little homework, but Suarez, the only way I get rid of Suarez is if we pick up a solid catcher. No other, left field is being handled, but we need a solid catcher. It's the only way I give us Suarez or break that thing up at all, because we're hurting really bad at catcher.
Obviously, a catcher would be great. I mean, I think if you, I don't think the Braves want Suarez. I think you're going to get I think AJ Preller is going to have to get really creative, which we know he can do. If you're going to try to get a catcher and they really want Sean Murphy, that's going to be a hard pull for Preller to get him out of Atlanta. What does Atlanta need Robert Suarez for? Nothing. Unless they still think they can compete, which they might still think that.
And that's where
but
you're
he's a rental, though.
That's where you're looking at losing a Boston Bateman or one of your top minor league prospects, a Cash Mayfield. That's the situation where you look at those guys.
3-team trade. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, if you could get a catcher, I guess. The thing with like Suarez, it's just gonna have to be a move. Suarez goes to Team A, and then you get somebody from Team C if you're gonna end up parting ways with Suarez. Drew in San Diego, you're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, Drew?
Hey, what's up, Braden? TGIF.
That's right.
Four Horsemen is going to be -1 because I would trade Suarez, Cease, and Arise and get a catcher, outfielder, and another starting pitcher if we can get.
I'd ship them.
Drew says trade him away. Appreciate the phone call, Drew. I don't know if I'd trade all those guys away. I'm going to need somebody to start on the hill with Dylan Cease. All three of those guys are rentals, technically, so I don't know how he'd work that out, but he's willing to trade any of those three. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's go out to the desert of Arizona. Dan standing by. Dan, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing? I'm actually in San Diego right now.
Nice. How about that? A lot better weather out here, huh?
30 degrees, cooler. Anyway, isn't Suarez basically a rental? Because he can opt out. So why would somebody trade one of the guys we're talking about for him? He could leave.
Well, again, like we mentioned before, it'd be like a 3-team trade, and the teams that trade for rentals are teams that are in contention. So, somebody out there, like, the Red Sox theoretically, Dan, I appreciate the phone call. The Red Sox theoretically, I don't think they will, theoretically, because they've been playing well, could pick up a Suarez that they think is going to help their bullpen because they need some pitching help, and they're willing to part ways with one of their assets. I mean, it's the same situation for the Red Sox as we're proposing for the Padres. Take something that's one of your better assets and trade it away to improve something that's one of your lesser assets, or one of your black holes, I should say. So that would be the situation. And again, we just threw that out there because Jeff Passan was talking about how the Padres have to be creative. This is a way that they would be creative. And he actually mentions Robert Suarez in that creativity piece in which he had like a trade for every contender in Major League Baseball. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Kevin and Chula Vista on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Kevin?
Okay, so no argument about the needs. What I would continue to caution everybody, and based upon the history of the Preller time, there has been no position player that has come in here during the trade deadline or after thereof and has produced a thing. And so you better watch out what you ask for because you might get it. So what you're trading away is what you know versus coming back and you're hoping against hope against something that you don't know. And therein lies the dilemma to all of this, is that anything that is proposed needs to put a large asterisk by it that says, assuming the player can come in here and produce, hitting the ground running. And that is where is the problem lies at this point. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, that has been some of the problem for the last couple of times, and I appreciate the phone call, Kevin, is you've seen a downtick in production from a lot of these players. I wonder if that goes back to the ballpark question we had yesterday on the roundtable. Just naturally, stats from high performing individuals offensively lose a little bit of said stats. Their WAR drops, their OPS plus drops. I mean, if you look at all those players, including guys like Juan Soto, they haven't been as good as they were at their previous destination. I'd be curious to see how that's the case for a lot of other teams too. If players in general don't play up to what they were before they were traded. That would be an interesting deep dive experiment to see what they would be like. You know, there's a lot of players, but that's the case for a lot of these ballparks, right? It's like that's like being a pitcher getting sent to Colorado at the deadline and his stats going down again. It's been the case for everybody because somebody's like Brandon Drury wasn't too bad. I mean, none of those players were bad. I thought they all were serviceable, but if you look at their numbers, they all regressed since being acquired by the Padres. I don't know if that's related or not, but it is an interesting tell that has been shown with the players that the Padres have acquired post-trade deadline and what they had done since being acquired by the Padres. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Well, we've talked about some of the players that have been rumored, but MLB.com's got 20 starters who could be traded at the deadline. We're going to talk about that and get to our sports thread when we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11:34 on a Friday. Padres baseball coming up later on this evening. Padres-Phillies started a 3-game series before the players that are the All-Stars will head to the All-Star game in Atlanta. Our guy Mike Crumb's out there. Did you know that, Frank?
I did not know that.
Working the All-Star game for Fox. I hope the catering is not carne asada tacos.
Well, I don't know if it would be as weird in Atlanta as it would be here.
Putting ketchup on it?
I mean, it's still wrong, but
I bet you they got some weird San Diego burritos out there. I was told. I was told. I don't know if I want to check it out because when I'm going to, I made a couple of, I booked a couple of trips for the fall in which I don't have to take a day off. How about that, huh?
Look at you, you staycationing genius.
Except it's not here. I got a trip booked to Tennessee, in which I leave after work on a Friday and return Sunday night.
Okay.
Quick turnaround. But listen to this. Fly to Nashville Friday night. Saturday morning, drive to Knoxville, Tennessee, Georgia. Huh? Not bad? Not bad?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Okay, so I
Tennessee, Georgia. I know. I heard you.
So I fly to Nashville Friday night, drive to Knoxville, which is like driving to L.A. It's the same amount of time it takes to drive to L.A. with traffic, except there's no traffic, and the landscape's beautiful. Drive to Knoxville on a game day, Tennessee, Georgia. The next day, it's going to be a day trip, then drive back home or back to Nashville. Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans have their home opener against the L.A. Rams.
Oh,
have a day with Sean McVay in L.A., except we'll be in Nashville. That's a 12:25 kickoff, or whatever it is.
Speaking of L.A., we'll get to them in the sports thread.
Or noon kickoff. And fly back that night. That was one of the weekends. The other one is for TCU Baylor. Now, this one, again, so that week is a bye week for Cathedral. So I could have theoretically left on a Friday, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather work. The next one, I leave Saturday morning on October 18th, TCU Baylor. Next day, Commanders Cowboys. Fly back Monday morning.
Not bad.
Now, what's leading me to this, apparently, one of my friends lives in Prosper, Texas. Prosper. It's kind of like that. Somebody from San Diego's opened up a taco shop in Prosper.
Uh-oh.
She said she was told, she's from Arizona, she was told that it is just as good as the real thing. And I said, well, you're going to have to try it and let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'll ever drive to Prosper, Texas, because it's like North Dallas. But it's interesting to know that. Maybe it's starting to spread out. But have you seen like these meme accounts with these San Diego meme accounts that post like burritos?
Yes.
In other states. There's like, oh, this is California, San Diego style Mexican food. And they have like the burritos, got like queso and grilled peppers, and basically looks like a Philly cheesesteak wrapped in a tortilla. Like, oh, here's our California burrito.
Close.
Some of those are so gross. So I'm curious if that might be the case. Anyway, I digress. Talking a lot about some trades, potential trades, everything like that. Again, from reports outside of Leo DeVries and Salas, the Padres have nothing to trade. Most organizations value the Padres farm system a lot higher. Again, nobody ever... Does anybody listen, Frank? Does anybody listen? Like in the chat, like Captain. I don't think Captain ever listens. I don't think he ever listens before he just starts typing away. Have I said that Leo DeVries and Salas are the only prospects the Padres have? Have I said that one time?
About 40 times, actually.
Yeah. No, I haven't. I basically have said, again, that's what everybody values from the national media standpoint. And what have I said? Other teams value the farm system differently. Yeah. Rank it higher, which means there's other prospects to potentially send off. But until it happens, you don't know.
National media knows all, Braden. We'll get a glimpse of that on Friday when Fox, tomorrow when Fox is here.
Nobody listens.
National media knows everything about this team.
I would have watched the game. Well, I'm not, that's a 4:00 start.
The
Hopefully I'm off.
4:35.
Hopefully I'm off the island by then. That should be, if I get the notification the game has started, it's time to start heading off the island.
It's not a bad pitching matchup either. I believe it's Zach Wheeler versus Yu Darvish.
On Saturday?
4:35 on Fox.
That's what I saw. Should be a good one. If I get back home, I'm going to jump in the pool. I'll probably have to hose off first. That nasty dirt at Fiesta Island. Jump in the pool, jump out, and throw the game on outside with mute. Watch on mute.
You're gonna watch the game instead of play college football 26.
I still need to buy it.
Oh, for God's sake, Braden.
Haven't bought it yet. Haven't bought it yet. I got home last night. I had to do a couple of things. I had to post the Jason Adams stuff on social media. I was doing that. Then the game started. I was watching that. I know I had to get up early for football this morning. I almost bought it after I got back from football.
See, what you do is you go home, you buy it. You have a PlayStation or Xbox?
I have a PS5.
So
come on, man.
No, I'm asking.
Come on. You should know that.
You buy it on PlayStation, set it to download, put the PlayStation in rest mode, so this way it downloads while you're here, and when you get home, it's ready to go.
I got to make sure I have enough storage space on there.
It's right on the home menu.
I know. See, that's what, but that's,
I don't
know if can I do that on my phone?
The easiest way to
delete the games off my PS5 from my phone. I probably
delete last year's game, man.
I should delete
the easiest way to do it.
I should do that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're about to get to Steve, and he hung up. But we got Davis in Oceanside. Davis, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Going well. What do you got for us today?
So, the way that I judge coaches is your overall production from your players. And I think if you look at Ruben Niebla and you kind of look at all of our pitching staff, generally speaking, feels like he's kind of turning guys from prospects or maybe newcomers into really solid pitchers. He's getting the most out of Morihone. Our bullpen's obviously stellar, and guys are coming up left and right and starting out of nowhere and doing a pretty decent job. I think he's doing a fantastic job overall. On the offensive side, I couldn't feel more the opposite about Victor Rodriguez. Feels like the entire unit is underperforming. It feels like our star players generally are underperforming. So my question is, at what point do you think Victor Rodriguez should kind of be on the hot seat? And just a quick side part of that, I heard a lot last year about Padres hitting, or Petco hitting, I should say. And I think that was an approach of like average over slug. Is that still something that you're aware of that they're actively practicing?
Trying to get a higher average and then higher slug is what we're going with on that with the Petco hitting. I think on Victor Rodriguez, I mean, at this point, when they're at bats, I think a lot of their at bats are not bad in terms of over, and they're getting hits. It's just they haven't been able to get that big hit. And I think a lot of their problems is the roster construction more than anything else. How many hitting coaches do you have to go through? I mean, seriously, like how many hitting coaches do you have to go through before you just have to be like, you know what? Maybe the players have to play better. At the beginning of the year, they looked pretty good. They were playing that aggressive approach. They weren't, they were taking pitches out of the zone. They were swinging at strikes. I mean, I thought their overall approach was good at the plate. But like, we're going to go with another hitting coach? Just going to keep just a brand new hitting coach every year? I mean, think about it from this perspective. Like, Fernando listens to his dad more times than not anyway. I mean, are you really making too many adjustments with him? He makes his own adjustments with his own hitting coach. It's his father. I think a lot of these guys have their own hitting coach anyway. I mean, he's there for some strategy things and some talking points, but overall, the players have to get the job done eventually. So I don't necessarily think like Victor Rodriguez is a problem. Xander Bogaerts is getting out of his slump. Who's the one guy Xander Bogaerts picked to focus on and listen to when he was in his slumps? It was Victor Rodriguez. I mean, he's obviously doing something. So I get what you're saying too. Like Ruben Diablo has done a really good job with the pitching staff, but everybody was worried when Darren Balsley left that the pitching staff was just never going to be as good. Remember how great Darren Balsley was? Ruben Diablo's done a great job too. And I'm not saying Ruben Diablo and Darren Balsley are not great coaches, because I think they are. I think they know how to calm people down. But the Padres have always had good pitching in the ballpark that's a pitcher's park. And they've always had a tough trying to get guys to hit as well as they have in other places in San Diego. There might be a Petco Park problem with some of this. Not all of it. It can't all be blamed on that. They got to hit better. There's no, and that's the other thing too. They got to hit better on the road. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Time for the sports thread in which Frank might hijack into the college football 26 thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank.
There will be no hijacking of the sports thread. We're going to do it. We're going to do it right. And we're going to start with...
Number 1.
Why'd you sound so upset about that?
The Committee for Men's and Women's Division I Basketball met this weekend to discuss possible expansion of the March Madness tournaments, but made no immediate decisions or recommendations. Dan Gavitt, the NCAA Senior Vice President of Basketball, said yesterday, quote, "This is still the still viable outcomes include the tournaments remaining at 68 teams or expanding fields to either 72 or 76 in advance of the 26 or 27 championships." Braden, when will people start to learn that when you expand the playoffs, it dilutes the product?
I don't think that's the problem as much as the fact that you expand the playoff. You're just going to get, let's just put all the Power 4 schools in.
Exactly.
That's all they're asking for. If they expanded March Madness and we're getting good teams in from conferences that are one bid leagues, you know what? I actually be in favor of it.
Exactly.
I think about the Big West last year with UCSD and UC Irvine. They both probably deserve to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
If you were going to expand and put UCI in the NCAA tournament, I'd be in. I'd be all for it. Or like to get another team in the Mountain West when San Diego State and the Mountain West have good years. I'm all for it. But if you're going to put in a lousy bottom of the pecking order group of our Power 4 school into the NCAA tournament because we're Power 4 and we play BS. I don't want to watch that. And I'm even speaking on terms of like my own school. I bring up TCU. Last year, TCU is not a good basketball team. They just were flat out not good. But you know what? They win a couple of Big 12 games in the best conference in the Big 12, right? And all of a sudden it's like, hey, look, TCU is pretty good. And I watch it. No, they're not good. Just because they beat Baylor on the road, and they own Baylor in their new building, by the way, undefeated in the new building down in Waco, doesn't mean they deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. If the tournament was expanded last year, TCU probably had a good chance of making it, and they would have made it over a UC Irvine who was probably way better than a TCU, and I'm not for that at all. This is not about making the product better. This is not about equal opportunity. This isn't about getting teams into the NCAA tournament. It's about the loser schools in the Power 4. And there's a lot of loser schools in the Power 4 that absolutely suck in all sports that are just happen to be in these power conferences that want a fat check for being mediocre. We've seen it. Think about the 2 schools that were power conference schools when they got added to the Mountain West and the West Coast Conference. What did those schools do? In any sport, nothing. They were terrible. Maybe they're not power level schools. Are you telling me that Vanderbilt is a Power 4 school and anything other than baseball? Give me a break. Same thing with like Illinois in football. Why does Illinois get the benefit of the doubt because they happen to be in the region and they were grandfathered in? No, forget that. Rutgers, get out of here. Nobody wants to see Rutgers play in a tournament. Stupid. I could spend 25 minutes on this, but we have to keep it rolling.
Number 2.
I feel like you echo the same things.
Yes, I do.
All right.
What was it you said the last show before the 4th of July? How'd you end the last show before the 4th of July?
Please be safe this holiday weekend.
Yes.
Don't mess with fireworks.
We now know for a fact that Najee Harris, the running back for the LA Chargers,
doesn't know Jason Pierre-Paul,
does not listen to the show. Chargers running back Najee Harris sustained an eye injury after a firework mishap of the 4th of July event. His agent, Doug Hendrickson, told Adam Schefter yesterday. Hendricks said the injury was superficial and that Harris is expected to be ready for the upcoming season. Still, though, we paged Dr. Pierre-Paul. Fireworks, athletes, why can't they stay away from them?
The risks that are being taken by athletes that have a ton of money, that have a lot on the line, don't add up. The risk reward makes no sense. You are a professional athlete.
An eye injury for a running back.
You are a professional athlete. What are you setting fireworks off for? You have pay somebody to do it for you. Don't mess with fireworks. And if you are going to mess with fireworks, have a fuse and light it from a distance. These guys like holding the rocket in their hand as they light it. It's just mind-boggling to me. You have so much at risk, and you're setting off fireworks. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's the same thing with these guys driving their cars. You have so much to risk. Teetering on just collapsing your life immediately. And we think that lighting a firework is worth giving up potentially playing in the National Football League and a paycheck that you get paid so high for. I don't understand it.
Once again, paging Dr. Pierre-Paul.
Number 3.
The NBA Cup group stage.
Is that more exciting than Summer League?
Has been announced. I'm noticing one thing through these groups is that there are no teams that are grouped together that you would even consider watching. Cleveland, Indiana, Atlanta, Toronto, Washington, East Group A.
Okay.
Care about any of those matchups. Boston, Detroit, Orlando, Brooklyn, Philadelphia. Maybe if Philadelphia was good, I'd care about Boston, Philadelphia. Milwaukee, Chicago, Miami, Charlotte. Okay. New York, Milwaukee probably has a decent chance of being good. For the West, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Sacramento, Phoenix, Utah. Oklahoma City, Minnesota will be pretty fair. That's a good one. Clippers, Lakers, Memphis, Dallas, New Orleans. Who cares? Houston, Denver, Golden State, Portland, San Antonio. I could see Houston and Denver being decent.
Out of all the groups you named, that was the best one so far.
Why is anyone going to care about this? Why should anyone care about this?
They look like they play a lot harder in the cup. There's money on the line. Does there need to be a money incentive now for most of these players?
Paycheck isn't enough?
I guess not. Like, what's the incentive to win? I mean, they go after the cup for an extra, like, couple $1,000,000, right? Is that what you have to do now?
So
like,
ridiculous.
If you made the MLB All-Star game where, like, the winners each get $10 million each or something ridiculous, how hard do you think they're playing?
Playing a lot harder than they are now.
I agree.
There's no.
Is that the only incentive now? Is just money?
There's no buzz. There's absolutely nothing around the MLB All-Star game this year. Like, I don't care at all. It used to be a spectacle. It used to be an event.
I'm excited to see them in their uniforms and then to get introduced, and then that would be about it. And then see what the Padres players do. But other than that, I don't really care who wins.
Those will be on highlights. I don't care. I really don't care what anyone does in the All-Star game.
Number 4.
If a Padre was in the home run derby, I'd pay more attention to it.
No. Charles Barkley is coming off of his best celebrity golf performance ever, but remains the longest shot at the field to win this week's America's Century Championship at South Lake Tahoe in Nevada. What are Charles Barkley's odds? Because people are so degenerate they have to gamble on a celebrity golf tournament. Charles Barkley's odds are 7,500 to 1.
He's still swinging like this?
No, he has actually changed his swing.
Fixed his swing.
His swing has gotten better.
So his odds are slightly better.
He's
Not
still
much
the
more.
longest shot, though.
What's worse, watching that and putting money on it, or watching Australian horse racing in the middle of the night?
Watching Hungarian soccer.
People bet on Hungarian soccer?
Yep.
Noon lunchtime
See, my
hour.
friend.
When we come back, take us over at Sports Station 97 to the van.
It's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Craft Taco, both flavors in Cerrito Valley and Balboa Park's Natural History Museum, open late on Friday nights for Nat at Night. Go to the Natural History Museum tonight. If you have nothing else going on, you get yourself some Craft Taco. Nat at Night's a fun time. We got to get Frank out there for Nat at Night. That says up your alley, Frank. Well, Nat at Night?
Yeah, I don't mind museums. I like museums.
Do the Nat at Night and get yourself some Craft Taco. You been to Craft Taco yet? There it is.
He draws the foul.
Can we announce it?
Can we? Is it official now?
Hey, from what we heard yesterday,
Frank might be consuming Craft Taco next week. That's what we're going to say. You want to go further than that?
I will ask Adam to see what we can and cannot say.
I think we can say it. I just want to keep it teased. Do we want to say the day?
I'm
early
asking
next
Adam
week.
now.
Early next week. All-Star Day? Maybe? All-Star Day?
I forgot about that.
That's right. It is a Tuesday. Taco Tuesday for Frank might be the day. He might get it delivered to him. A lot of mites might be happening.
Might have a jersey swap as well from.
Yeah, that'd be
from
great.
what I'm hearing.
Jersey swap. Taco swap?
Okay, let.
Il619 doesn't even think
phrasing.
I don't think he doesn't even believe you like tacos.
I do. I do like tacos. I frequent Taco Bell more often than I probably should, and more often than I'm sure my doctor would appreciate at the moment.
You get the nuggets though. That's different. I feel responsible for turning you on to the nuggets
And
just
they're-
in time for them to be
Exactly.
discontinued for another 6 months.
Why is it that everything that is good at places I like get discontinued right when I start to like them?
Snack Wrap fan?
No, not really. That was more directed
Because
at
that's back.
that was more directed at Jack in the Box with the mozzarella sticks. Their mozzarella sticks are so good.
Have you had the mod sticks at Sonic yet?
No, I do have to do that. I do have to get. I
You're a
do have
mod
to get
stick
out.
guy. I
to
mean,
Sonic.
in terms of fast food places, they have mod sticks. I can't think of any other place that
White
does.
Castle's the best by far.
Okay, well, we don't have one of those.
I know you don't. But it would have been White Castle.
I can't believe
Jack
the
in the
thing you
Box.
get at White Castle are the mod sticks.
Well, no, I get the
I'm just
sliders
saying,
also.
like, that's just something I wouldn't think would be at White Castle.
They're amazing though. They are really, really
They got one in
good.
Nashville. Maybe I should hit it up.
Go for it.
I did. That was the
You
only
will
other
not
time
reg-
that I had it.
you will
was-
not
but
regret
I
it.
didn't get the mod sticks. I had to DoorDash it. I guess I could do that again. I DoorDash it because I was the same flight. I get in super late.
Mhm.
Get
What
the
are you
White
door
Castle.
dashing it to the tarmac? What are you doing?
No, I have it meet at the Airbnb. Just dropped off at the Airbnb.
Hmm.
I don't have a vehicle out there, so that's how I do it. And there's one not too far from the area that we usually stay. I think it's the only one that's in Nashville, to be honest with you.
Might be.
But that's what I did. I got like the I got a spicy one and a couple of the regular White Castles or something like that. I don't know what
Yeah,
the
like-
cheeseburgers are.
Like Adam Paul said, there is one in Vegas. That's the furthest out west they've gone. Is Vegas.
Vegas has all the fast food. They got like everything. They got Whataburger now.
I think I heard that.
They might have Whataburger.
I did see something that got me really excited though a couple days ago
Which is
from
what?
Fox 5, the Fox 5 affiliate out
Yeah.
here. The expansion of Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is looking at new locations.
Don't they?
Unfortunately, none of them are here.
Well, I mean,
They're looking at one in Colorado. I think they're doing
Makes
like
sense.
3 more in Texas. I got really excited. I thought Buc-ee's was coming out here, and I was like, oh.
Where would you put it? I mean, it would have to be in.
I don't care as long as it's here.
It's like a major gas station for travel. Like we're in the southwest corner of the United States. Not a lot of people are rolling through here on a road trip. We're like the start of road trips.
Or it's the end. And at some point, when you hit the end of the road trip, you have to go back. So there you go. Start your trip off with a nice trip to Buc-ee's.
To me, the only place that would make sense for a Buc-ee's, and now see, look, this is what you did. Now we're going off of what I wanted to talk about, but
there's always the next segment.
It's supposed to talk about Sushi Sam's Cooler in the next segment.
That's true too.
Throw him under the bus like we usually do.
Gas,
He's the bit of a lot of our jokes.
Nate, gas is too expensive here. However, even I know one does not go to Buc-ee's for gas.
Here's the only place I think a Buc-ee's would make sense. And I've been to this gas station multiple times, is way out there on Interstate 8. I'm looking at the map. How far is it? It's like right before you get to like Desert Tower. It's out in like Manzanita, basically. There's like a Shell gas station out there.
Okay.
It's like by like the, oh man, they got a backcountry inn there? Oh God. Don't put it there. That sounds scary.
So right now, I just looked it up now. Some specific locations with confirmed plans or construction included for Buc-ee's is Goodyear, Arizona.
Okay.
Benton, Arkansas. Huber Heights, Ohio.
Woo pig.
Brunswick, Georgia. And Rockingham County, Virginia. They are looking at Arizona, Arkansas, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North Carolina, Ohio, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and Wisconsin.
You like to pronounce states in weird ways.
Why is it Arkansas and not
Arkansas? That's your Kansas, and this is Arkansas. Yes, I understand. Why isn't it Arkansas? Okay, this is where I put it. I found it. It's the Chevron of Hucumba off Interstate 8, way out there before you get to Desert Tower.
Is that the one?
It's by the Hucumba Airport. I mean, which is like right on the U.S.-Mexico border, just north of Hucumba Hot Springs.
Is it before the mountains or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've been to Desert Tower?
I know I passed it in March, so I just don't know.
Yeah, there's a Shell and a Chevron there. That's off the freeway. I've gotten gas there, and I've fixed my truck there a couple of times.
I've probably seen it. I just didn't realize where.
In terms of San Diego County potentially getting a Buc-ee's, the only place that would make sense would be there. Everything else is like by the coast and stuff like that. You would need a Buc-ee's.
What's that small little town's name? Like right before you get to the big mountains on the 8
Boulevard?
No.
I had a guy call in one time from Boulevard, California. And I was like, where is that? And I looked it up and I'm like, oh my God.
Where is you?
You talking about Ocotillo?
I think that might be it.
That's on the desert side of the mountains.
It's like right, it's on the 8, like right before you start to go downhill through the mountains and you have the sheer cliffs on both sides.
That's Hucumba. Or Boulevard, Manzanita, Live Oak Springs. I mean,
I have to look it up.
Like are we talking like where Mountain Empire High School is?
No, it's like it's in the middle of nowhere. It's like just a couple buildings. But it had such a.
It's off Interstate 8 as you're going towards Arizona.
It's on the 8, yeah.
And this is before you get to the mountains, before you get into the desert in Imperial County.
Yeah.
I think that's like Hucumba or Boulevard.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, there you go. Over by like the Border Patrol spot out there.
I
like Derek's idea. Put a Buc-ee's in Barstow on the way to Vegas. I think that's money, but I'm talking about like San Diego County wise. If they put a Buc-ee's out there by, like I said, in Hucumba, how many times did you go out there? Pine Valley. Maybe it's Pine Valley. Is that what they're talking about? Pine Valley?
I'm looking right now.
Do you have one out by the Hucumba Hot Springs? I'd probably go there once in a while. I gotta get gas. Where are you going? Acumba? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, well, they got a Buc-ee's. So, all right. Well, Frank's looking that up. I wanted to get to a couple of things with the Padres in terms of what Mike Shildt has said about the approach at the plate. This clip's super long, isn't it?
Yeah, these next two. All right, so that clip you're asking for is 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
Okay, we'll have to get to that when we come back in a second. OTLs this weekend. Did you find the place you're looking for?
No.
These aren't the droids you're looking for. OTLs this weekend. Here's a dilemma for you. This is what we got. Let me know if there's a foul on Sam for this. You ready for this?
In Copa. That's what it is.
What?
In Copa.
I don't know where that is.
It's like right before Boulders Park, like just like where you go through Smuggler's Gulch, like right as you start to go down.
We have a place here called Smuggler's Gulch.
Yeah, it's where the 8 splits off and it goes around the mountain.
Are these let's play real or fake with Ben and Woods. Cities in city or places in San Diego or places in a Star Wars map. Smuggler's Gulch? That sounds like a ride at Disneyland.
Oh, it is. There's Smuggler's Gulch, Myers Creek. It's where the 8 splits to go
down the mountain.
Things, yeah.
Smuggler's
Gulch.
That's a ride. That's not real.
Real
or fake? That is somewhere on Tatooine in Star Wars. That is not a real place. You are making that up. There is no way there's any place in San Diego called Smuggler's Gulch. I call BS.
Thank you very much, Adam, on the pronunciation.
You ever been to Desert Tower? It's a cool little spot.
Again, I probably passed it. I just don't remember.
And the springs up there. Anybody who's been to Desert Tower knows about the springs. Let me ask you this question, because we're going to get off Sam here. We have a couple of minutes. I do want to dive into the approach at the plate for the Padres. When you were doing a road trip, which, by the way, when's the last time anybody did a road trip? I haven't done a road trip in a long time. I think it's probably better for little kids. But when was the last time you had like a long drive? Like, did you drive here from New York when you moved back?
Yes.
Okay. Are you the type of person that wants to get to the destination as quickly as possible? Or do you enjoy the drive where you stop at a couple of things that tickles your fancy?
It depends. Usually, if we do stop to see something, it would be near food. Like we're making a food stop.
Yeah, you got to make a food.
If there's something, but if there's something around that area, then yeah, I might go in and see it. I'm not gonna go out of my way to see something that's like not near something.
Like in Arizona, when you're driving on Interstate 8, which turns into the 10, you're not going way off to go to Tombstone.
No,
that's like way out of the way.
Yeah.
If you see a sign like a tour, it's all tourist trap stuff, right?
Oh, of course,
like world's largest ball of yarn, or like I remember on the road trip we did, we had to go find some Lewis and Clark thing. I didn't remember what it was. Like they had like a replica of their boat or something. I don't know what it was. My mom made us go see this. My mom is all about stopping at all of these little things, every single one of them. If we followed her the entire time, it would take us weeks to get anywhere. I don't mind. I like getting to the destination, but like I'm starting to enjoy some of these things. So the first time, and I knew this was going to be the case, when I drove out to Texas, I knew I was going to have to stop at this thing. Big billboard signs all over the place that said the same thing. What was it? I'll tell you when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, Stadium Someone Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Noon lunchtime hour brought to you by Kraft Taco. Seneca's number one sports station 97.3 The Fan. Bold flavors in Sorrento Valley and Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. Open late on Fridays for Nat at Night. Got Nat at Night tonight on a Friday night. You're not going to the Padre game. Go Nat at Night. Get some tacos, a Kraft Taco. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Braden Surprenant Show. Every day from 10 to 2. Talking Padres, baseball, lifestyle, everything here on the radio airwaves. I want to dive into what Mike Shildt said about the approach at the plate in just a second, at least what their approach at the plate has been. But I'll pay off the tease that we had going to break about the thing, the natural thing of when you're on a road trip, how often are you stopping at some of these tourist traps? My mom will stop at every single one if she can. Every single one. There's one place, we haven't done a road trip a long time, but we have driven past the graveyard, the airplane graveyard that's also a museum, just outside of Tucson, probably 100 times, and every time she wants to see it. She wants to see it so bad. We've never done it. I feel like that needs to be checked off the list. One of these days, that's going to have to happen. But other than that, most of the time, she gets the way of we're stopping at some of these things. And you know what? You got to give her some credit because after the fact, you talk about it, make memories. It's all about making memories, right? So there's one from here to Texas that I stopped at every single time. And the first time I stopped there, I knew I was going to have to stop there because that's just something my family does. There was billboards for it thousands of times leading up to this destination. And it's either just inside of Arizona or just inside of New Mexico. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's Arizona. It's one of the last stops you have in Arizona before you get to New Mexico. Conveniently, it's right off the freeway and you can get gas there. So, you know what? It goes into what Frank would say, it might be worth the stop, right? It's called The Thing. The Thing. I think I've said this before on the radio. Can't remember when I did it. But you'll start seeing billboards for The Thing once you get to Tucson. And you are still hundreds of miles away from The Thing. The good thing about The Thing is they have gas there. It's a gas station. It's your last gas station stop for a long time before you get into New Mexico. So we stopped at The Thing. I've stopped at The Thing 4 times. Everybody in my family stopped at The Thing at least once because every trip has been with a different family member between here and Texas. The only one that hasn't done it is my brother Matt, who drove back from Tennessee, and then The Thing was actually closed when he was rolling through there. I highly recommend going to The Thing. It's $2.
Is it the same thing?
It's The Thing. It's just The Thing.
Right, but is The Thing the same thing as the thing that was there the last time you The Thing?
It's The Thing.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
It is The Thing. I can't tell you what The Thing is. It would give away the surprise. It's The Thing. So you should, if you're doing the travels, go check out The Thing. Now, if you're not inclined to drive through the middle of the Arizona desert, and you're not inclined to drive to Texas or anything like that on the southern part, which I don't believe you should be because there's really nothing out there. Nothing out there. I mean, I think the worst stretch of land on this planet, maybe actually just in this continent, is the stretch of land between El Paso and Odessa, Texas. That is just hell on earth. It sucks. There's no reason to ever drive through there unless you're driving to Fort Worth, Texas, like I was, or back from Fort Worth, Texas to San Diego. You kind of have to go that way. That is a barren wasteland. It's not fun. There's nothing to look at. It smells like burnt oil. It's not great. But should you so desire to go through that portion of land, or you drive through all the way to the Arizona-New Mexico border and you see billboards for The Thing, I highly recommend going to see The Thing, fill up with gas, and see The Thing. It's $2. I will not tell you what The Thing is. But if you aren't going to drive that, you can look up the Google machine and it will tell you what The Thing is. It would kind of eliminate the surprise. And if you do said thing to look at The Thing, just don't tell anybody in the chat of what The Thing is.
I did just Google machine The Thing.
The Thing.
And it didn't eliminate a surprise. I'll say that much.
It did or did not?
It did not eliminate the surprise. There was definitely a surprise when I saw the thing.
You were that was when you were thinking of the thing.
It was not. That was
Were
not
you
the thing.
thinking that thing to be said thing?
That was the thing. I was not thinking that thing.
The best part about the thing is you walk through it's like a museum. So you walk through a bunch of other stuff first. Like there's a bunch of old cars. There's a bunch of other random stuff.
Now you're giving it away.
But those aren't the thing.
Well, you never know. It could have been the thing.
And every place you go through, you think the thing is there, but the thing might not be there. And they moved the thing. So you don't know which room the thing is in. Let me ask you this.
Anyone on YouTube have a thing counter on us right now?
I want to ask you before we get to the deal. What did you think the thing was?
Not what that was.
Well, we'll eliminate one thing from the thing list for the audience. What did you think the thing was?
Oh, I thought it was something stupid, like a ball of yarn or something.
See? Think that too. But it's not something stupid. It would, in fact, be the thing. Is that worth $2 while you're filling up for gas?
It was.
Hey, you'll walk around a little bit. Long man walking around.
It was a surprise, I'll tell you that.
The thing. Okay. Let's talk about the other thing. Padres offense. And the Padres a little bit better in their approach to the plate.
It's about as surprising as the thing.
That is to say, you know what? Last night with the couple of home runs was just as surprising as the thing. I would say that. Thingy. What did Mike Shildt have to say about the approach at the plate? Here's what happened earlier today on the Manager's Report with Mike Shildt, refreshed by Ecowater SoCal.
I think that's fair. I mean, we've got a clear identity, and you said it never fails, but it can fail. That's the thing about baseball that is as maddening as anything.
Yes.
You get the hardest thing to do, and again, not the alibi, just stating the fact, man. And it's also a healthy mindset to understand this, and I think it could be healthy potentially for people that are listening. And that is, you can have hitting's the hardest thing to do in all of sports, and then just to physically do it, and it's getting harder and harder. And so you take that all into account between the stuff and the understanding and the data and the positioning, which I'm getting to in a minute, and then you can do it completely right. And outside of a guy making an attempt on a hockey goalie or a shot getting blocked, but pretty much any other sport, you do it right. Golf is, from what I hear, really hard. I don't play it really, but I played enough to know it's hard. And but yeah, if you hit and you read all the, you have the right approach to the shot, it's gonna go where you want. If it's a putt, it's gonna go in. There's nobody running out from the crowd jumping in front of the, in front of the hole
to kick it away.
And they have what they call goaltending in basketball.
Yep.
You interfere with the shot. In baseball, to your point, you can have the right approach. You can hit a ball off a pitcher and it bounces to a fielder. You can hit a line drive right to the infielder. You can line out to the outfielder, the center fielder. You can do all these things. And, at the end of the day, like we all accept that result didn't happen. And sometimes it leads to us not winning a baseball game.
Yep.
And why it's important for at least our players to understand it is all you can do, and all I can ask them to do is to have a good idea what they're doing and be able to take the best chance they can at it. And then after that, once you've done it, to actually counterintuitively reward yourself for something that didn't lead to a result.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, you don't have, you aren't able to produce that. And you were, chasing out of the zone. Again, stuff's really nasty, but that's when, you got to be able to do your best. And again, we give our guys grace for it. Figure out a way to have that approach and do what the game calls for, as Toddy says, that sums up a hard game simply. So, and every situation's different. That's the other thing. Every situation is a situation, and just have a situation again to what the game calls for. And if we can see the intent to that, then that's about all we can do.
Yeah.
I was talking to Nick Puta brought this point up, one of our coaches, and we won the game the other night, 1-0, and he goes, "Man, it was nice to win a game where we didn't out hit somebody." And I'm like, we've out hit people and lost a fair amount of games.
Sure.
Can I explain that? When we played clean defensively, we walked 2 or less, we out hit somebody. Yeah, you can point at a place and say, yeah, this happened, that happened. They hit a homer, we didn't. I can explain that, but I've done it long enough to know that those things happen consistently, and they've had enough with the club that we have to be able to be 7 games over and in a spot to contend for the playoffs.
Lots to unpack with what Mike Shildt just said. And it comes to, situational stuff. It comes to, I think it's an interesting thing that he brought up. Not the thing. Talked about situation. He said situation almost as much as I said the thing in this last segment. But the conversation with Nick Punto about it's great to be able to beat somebody without having to out hit them. Yeah, it is great. It'd be nice to get some hits with runners in scoring position. It'd be nice to get some, stretch some hits together and drive in runs. The hitting is not the problem. The Padres get plenty of hits. They get plenty of singles. They get plenty of hits. But most of the problems rely on the bottom of the order not getting the job done or being almost automatic outs. That just kills momentum from this team potentially scoring a lot of runs and leaving runs on the table. So, interesting comments from Mike Shildt earlier today. And when we come back, one of the players that is struggling and has been struggling a lot in the last couple of weeks is Jackson Merrill. And Mike Shildt had a lot to say about Jackson Merrill earlier on the Ben and Wood show. We're going to talk about Merrill during his slump, about what Mike Shildt had to say, and what Jackson Merrill has said. He's obviously frustrated. And he had some comments in the daily newsletter today that we also want to say. Not all of it is clean for the radio, so we'll paraphrase. But that's coming up next, where Jackson Merrill is at right now in the middle of a slump with 3 days to go before the ceremonial first half. I'll come up next on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Number Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. We got breaking news on the Braden Surprenant Show. We have great news coming up on Gwen and Chris. An announced time for their special guest, Manny Machado. Going to be joining Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby, down at the ballpark today at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. Manny Machado joins Gwen and Chris. So you got to be stay tuned for that. As we take you up to Gwen and Chris, that will start at 2 o'clock. Manny Machado joining the show. It's very limited the time that we get to have Manny Machado on, and he's going to come on with Tony Gwynn Jr. and Matt Scraby talking about his 2000th hit. Obviously, major impact in Padres history, connection with Tony Gwynn, being able to do that in a Padres uniform, and it's going to be a fun, entertaining conversation, and I can't wait to hear it. Coming up at 3 o'clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby, going to be joined by Manny Machado. So, that is the breaking news. Don't do that. Breaking news would be a big trade. No, it wouldn't. Not right now. Come on, man. It's before the All-Star break. Come on, dude.
There's some breaking news of our own as well.
That's right. What is that, Frank?
On Tuesday.
Tuesday!
No more fouls.
No more fouls built in for Frank on Tuesday. Why is that, Frank?
Kraft Taco will be coming here on Tuesday so I can pay off what has been, a month and a half, 2 months of when in the hell am I going to have Kraft Taco?
You could have ended that at any point in time.
I could have.
That's so, I don't really feel too bad.
I could have ended it on Saturday.
You could have.
But I'm too stupid.
But you didn't have a map.
I didn't have eyes, apparently.
Go Aztecs thinks it should still be a foul until you walk into the building.
Oh, stop it. I walked in, well, then that was so then none of my fouls this past week should have counted.
He's talking about the one in Sereno Valley.
Well, too bad.
It's a valid point. I think Go Aztecs is calling you out because he wants to take you down on NCAA 26.
It's not going to happen, Bo.
Gonna play him?
I'll play him. I don't care.
You need to make that happen this weekend.
I'm not afraid.
So sometime. And I got to see the result. You got to record the highlights of that one.
Gotcha.
I'd like to know what happens. Distracted by the meerkat. He's talking a lot of ass, dude.
Go Aztecs has been on me this week.
He has.
It's not just today. It's been all week. Bro's been on me.
You guys need to go to Kraft Taco together and set up the PS5 and take each other down on NCAA 26 live at Kraft Taco. What a great idea that is.
Stream that.
Just saying.
It'll be a members only stream right there.
We're not at that point yet.
No, we're not.
They'll buy you some boar's head meats.
Jeez.
Some deli meats.
Well, now that's an issue with our legal department. I don't know.
Yeah, true. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It's a lot to talk about in the noon lunchtime hour. Let's talk a little bit about Jackson Merrill. Before we dive into what Jackson Merrill has said about Jackson Merrill and the struggle that he has had at the plate, let's talk about or listen to what Mike Shildt had to say about Jackson Merrill on talking with Merrill during his slump.
Well, probably a couple of things. I mean, first of all, you're right. It's Jackson's. He's struggled more than he's ever struggled in his career. Jackson rightfully, clearly came to the big leagues last year and was ready for it.
Yep.
But that is also, and more players, and this is the slippery slope of player development, is making sure guys get here. And quite frankly, and I didn't understand this until when I was in player development early in my player development career, which, I was in player development for a long time. And we had a farm director by the name of Gary LaRock, and Gary would be like, it's good for them to struggle. I'm like, no, it's not. They need confidence. And, but he was right. It was good for them to struggle. And I've seen guys that end up being really good all-star caliber players, and in some cases on a trajectory to Hall of Fame, struggle in their player development career, minor league career. And yeah, that was brutal for them in AA or AAA or A ball. And, you know, we always look to push guys a little bit further than they were maybe ready for, that we thought were going to be really good ball players, big league players. And we kind of set them up to struggle in some cases, and gave them a safety net a little bit, you know, as far as a day off here or there. But yeah, and those guys, but big league players figure out a way to come through it. Jackson didn't get that. And, you know, these guys with Jackson's ability get to the big league so quickly. And ultimately, it's just a matter of time before they're going to have that struggle, and they're going to do it at the highest stage. But what do I tell Jackson? Listen, Jackson's got a wonderful, Joe Torre would say this about Derek Jeter. It's a trait that Jackson has, and it's a huge compliment. You know, he's got some inner conceit, and that's Jackson's very humble, very gracious, very respectful of the game. But Jackson knows he's a good player.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes that arm around him, friendly reminder, is helpful. And, you know, I get a chance to love and do life with Jackson like I do a lot of our guys. But, Jackson knows he's a good player, and he's going to figure out what that looks like. And, you know, he's going to learn from this experience. And, you know, the thing about good, smart players is they learn from other people's experiences, and Jackson's been able to do that. You know, we have some real wisdom in our clubhouse. That's one of the things that I encourage all of our players to do. And had a great example the other day of Manny with his 2,000th hit. You know, yeah, let's celebrate the heck out of 2,000 hits. That's a heck of an accomplishment. But man, take a step back and, you know, realize how this guy goes about it to get those 2,000 hits.
Yep.
And be able to figure out how to emulate his mental, physical toughness, and how emotionally he stays even keel with the game and stays reconnected with what he knows his ability is. But that's other people's experiences, and those are valuable to learn from. But the experiences that are also valuable and most valuable in life that I would guess everybody in this call, including myself, could resonate with are your own experiences. And, you know, unfortunately, Jackson's, going through things that, you know, if you talk to Xander Bogaerts, who also similarly, in looking at his career, got to the big leagues at a very early age and won a World Series. And the next year, went through a rite of passage of struggle for the first time in his career. And so Jackson will learn from it, but you got to go through it to learn from it, and he'll be better for it ultimately.
He will, and he's the type of player that would be able to handle it at the major league level. But a couple of things, I mean, right now he's frustrated. And you can tell he's frustrated by some of the things that he said in the daily newsletter today written by Kevin Acee. Quote, "I'm a positive. I'm not going to tell you I felt great. I didn't. I'm still trying to find comfortability in the box and just kind of resetting. Walks are good, but I'm a bleeping hitter, dude. I want to hit. It's annoying when you are in the box and you know your ability is hitting. The thing I'm best at in this game is hitting, so when you're not doing it, it frustrates you." I am a little concerned that he's upset with his walks a little bit, and also not at the same time. I mean, you want to see this guy be a competitor. He's obviously frustrated. He's not driving in runs and, you know, putting bat on ball and getting productive at bats. Walks are still productive. He mentions that later on in a quote. But, he is going through it right now. And Mike Shildt, who was on with the morning show earlier, that's what that clip was from, he mentions it, and it's true. He mentions it, and it's true. A lot of these guys being rushed up to the big leagues have never had any type of adversity on the field or have struggled at all on the field. Merrill briefly did in the minor leagues, but it was so small. His dad even said that was like one of the best things that ever happened to Jackson, is learning how to overcome the adversity, learning how to get out of a slump. He's doing it right now, but unfortunately for him, he's doing it at a high level. And guess what? You got 3 pitchers this weekend in Philadelphia's starting staff that you're going to see that all have sub-3 ERAs, and some of them sub-2. You're going to get some really good pitching this weekend. It's going to be hard to get out there and flip it out of a slump. But you know what? I agree with Mike Shildt. Jackson Merrill's got the mental makeup to overcome some of these things and be able to figure this out at the highest level possible. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can do that. So it's interesting to see how it lays out with Jackson Merrill and where he's at. But again, the only thing that's going to help him right now is himself. He's got a lot of help with veteran players in the clubhouse that are going to help him. Victor Rodriguez, obviously, probably tasked with trying to get him out of the slump. Mike Shildt, but ultimately it's going to come down to him. And we'll see what Jackson Merrill can do. After this 3-game series, he'll have a little bit of time off to be able to figure it out, maybe work on some things. But I don't think this is going to be part of a problem for a long foreseeable future. It's the first time he's going through a struggle. And everybody on this Padres team has done it before at some point in their lives, some point in their career. Real quick, we need a contestant for our midday sports standoff. If we can get one in the next minute or so, it would be great. If you take me down some sports trivia, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you could take me down in some sports trivia, you'll be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Park MGM Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th, and a $100 gas card. Catch Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM September 12th through October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We'll get Frank to screen this contestant up, and we'll get on our way here to play on the midday sports standoff. So I think we're going to get a contestant right now. And in the 1 o'clock hour, we'll talk with Drake Hills, a little San Diego FC for you as we get our usual Soccer 101. We do want to get some of your phone calls in the final hour of the show. And just to mention one more time, Manny Machado will be joining Gwen and Chris coming up at 3 o'clock. But it's time to get to our midday sports standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
It's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, what do we got today?
All right, we have Jack in Pacific Beach. Jack, how you doing today, bud?
What's going on, guys? Love the show. How we doing?
Good. Thank you very much. So today it's going to be, again, it's college football, 26 weeks, so we're going to have another college topic. This one, though, you have a chance to tie on this one, so you don't have to win it. There are 8 possible answers here.
Tie for you wins.
Yes. There are 8 teams that are 8 college football teams that are going to be changing conferences next year. Who are the 8 teams? So, Jack, if you're ready, you have the first guess.
Changing conferences, college football. Grand Canyon?
No, they do not have a football program.
Unfortunate. Well, got a lot of the teams that are jumping to the Pac-12.
Yes.
I'm going to go with the San Diego State Aztecs.
So, Braden, you're on. You strike first. Jack.
Let's go Fresno.
Fresno State is jumping. Braden.
I'm going to go with Colorado State.
Colorado State. Correct. Jack.
Give me a Texas State.
Texas State is moving 2-2. Braden.
UTEP. Pick 'em.
UTEP is going from the from Conference USA
Coosa.
to the Mountain West.
That is correct.
Jack.
Stay over in this area, Utah State.
3-3, Braden.
We're going to go with Northern Illinois.
Jack, if you get this one, you're qualified.
Is it Big Blue up in Boise State on there too?
Jack, you're qualified. Congratulations. Hang on the line. I'll get your information during the break, bud.
Whole new Pac-12.
That's right. Once I gave one of the answers, you knew it was going to be the case.
Yeah, I kind of figured. I knew it was going to be a little bit of an easier one, but again, you with the college ones and all this stuff. So figured try to get a win before we get out of here for the weekend.
Did we get all of them?
Yes, we did. Got all of them.
I didn't have any strikes.
Good for you.
We like giving away prizes. San Diego State, Colorado State, Utah State, Fresno State, Boise State, Texas State, UTEP, Northern Illinois are the 8 schools that are flipping conferences next year.
Now there are more, like Gonzaga's flipping, but again, no football.
No
Same
football.
thing with Grand Canyon. I believe there's another couple schools that are changing, but not no football.
No football. And we thank you to Jack in PB for playing today, and hopefully, and good luck to him in qualifying for a chance to win our grand prize to Vegas. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I do want to talk about this. I saw it come up yesterday after I saw another tweet earlier this week that gave me this impression of I wish this was something that was still here. What is the latest news coming out of Chula Vista? We'll briefly talk about that and what the impact might be and whether or not it's possible.
Is Kevin moving?
I don't know. Maybe OG Kev is moving. We'll talk about it when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. 1 o'clock. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show this week. Big thanks to all of you for making our day a part of yours all week long. Frank Marchese, Braden Surprenant, the Braden Surprenant Show. We're here each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. We follow Ben and Woods, and we lead you into Gwynn and Chris. Big news today on Gwynn and Chris. Manny Machado is joining Tony Gwynn Jr. and Matt Scraby today live at Petco Park at 3 o'clock. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great time. 3 o'clock, Manny Machado on the Padres flagship. Final weekend of the ceremonial first half. I do want to talk about something that was in the news yesterday. I sent it to Frank. I saw it from NBC San Diego, who's across the street from us, by the way. Good people that work there. A lot of people that work there. They were the first ones to have it. Jennifer Van Grove wrote about it on the San Diego Union Tribune. And we'll try to get Jennifer on next week to really dive into this. But what is interesting is this developer that wants to build a giant sports and entertainment complex on Chula Vista's bayfront. Now, here's the thing. This is not the first time we've seen this potentially. We have seen 2 failed attempts back when the Chargers were still in town to try to build them a stadium down there. But the Virginia-based developers for the Pangea Chula Vista Sports Entertainment Complex will present their plans to the Port of San Diego board on Tuesday, the day we're getting tacos from Craft Taco. What a big day Tuesday is, huh? Development, the master plan of this new sports complex down by the Gaylord getting presented. Oh, and we get Craft Taco. It's also the All-Star game. According to this is from the article or piece written by Joe Little and Dave Summers on their report for NBC. According to an agenda posted on the Port's website yesterday, Pangea would deliver hotels, an elite tennis center, which would be great to try to get on the tennis tour, a water polo academy, which I find to be oddly specific in this entire ordeal, the water polo academy. We got good water polo here, I guess. An IMAX theater, a Pop Stroke, co-owned by Tiger Woods. I got to look up what Pop Stroke is again, because I forget what, I think isn't that like the adult mini golf kind of deal?
No, isn't that the thing that Tiger's been doing recently? It's the virtual golf.
It's not virtual golf. So Pop Stroke is a place that has a bar. It's got it's a place for families too, but you can get beer on tap. You can get mixed drinks, and they have smaller golf. It's like mini golf. So it says eat. They have food there. Okay. Putt. Embark on a mini golf adventure at our Oasis-like destination featuring 2 meticulously designed 18-hole putting courses. Each course mirrors the challenge and excitement of a traditional golf setup, complete with synthetic fairways, tricky bunkers, unpredictable rough patches, all played with a putter in hand, and then you could drink on the thing. Looks like they got playgrounds for kids and stuff like that and some other stuff. So they have one in Las Vegas. They got one in South Carolina, Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Nevada, Tennessee, and Texas. Where's the one in Tennessee? Maybe we should go check it. Nashville. They got one in Nashville. Holy cow. Maybe we should check it out. Tell you how it is.
Boy, your trip to Nashville is getting booked up quickly.
They have some other cool mini golf stuff in Nashville. I forget the name of them, but it's the kind of adult mini golf vibe is pretty fun. I forget the one in Nashville that I've been to before, but you can play 2 9-hole courses and you putt the ball. Everybody putts their ball all the way through, and each hole's got a different game you can play.
Yeah.
There's a true false question on one of them, and if you think the question is true, you putt to the true side and it gives you points if it's right. Cool. So it's pretty cool. It's a fun deal. I forget what it's called. My sister could tell me. But anyway, something like that. Pop Stroke, which is co-owned by Tiger Woods. That's not as virtual, but it's adult mini golf. You know what it is? It's Top Golf for putting. That's what it is. Best way I can explain it. And even this is what got me rolling here. A 50,000 seat soccer stadium. It would be built on a 124 acre piece of Chula Vista Bayfront that used to include the old South Bay power plant. The development would join Gaylord Pacific on Chula Vista's Bayfront. The resort and convention center is less than 2 months old, but has already been booked to capacity several times. How about that?
That's mental. And there's really nothing over in that area of Chula Vista. It's on the water side of the 5.
You're my Chula Vista. You're my South Bay resident here.
Yeah, there's nothing really over that way.
Well, they're trying to develop this area.
Yes.
Right? So
there's a lot of space for them to do it too.
I haven't seen the Gaylord yet, but I heard it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Have you been there yet?
It's an impressive building.
Like walked around?
No, I haven't been there, but when I take the trolley to go to games, I usually get off at East Street and you can see it pretty well from there.
I haven't been there yet either. I'd like to check it out. I don't need to stay there, but I'd like to check it out. All right, let me see where this place is. Okay, that makes more sense. They obviously want to develop it, right? So
yeah,
interesting. So the 50,000 seat stadium is what triggered my deal. This is not the first attempt. Obviously, a developer has tried bringing sports to the South Bay's city's waterfront. The then San Diego Chargers contemplated building a football stadium at the same location. They never were going to pay for it. Then in 2022, developer Fred McDonald proposed building a soccer and entertainment complex in the same vicinity. I do remember that. Both those plans obviously failed. Chula Vista Mayor John McCann is 100% behind the project. He had this to say: "This will become a destination point, not just regionally, but internationally. It's something that is very viable and would infuse some great opportunity for economics, jobs, and also to make sure we are protecting our coast." Sandra Rogers is a frequent visitor to the marina just behind the Gaylord Pacific. She isn't opposed to the project, but she has her reservations like everybody else does. People have already invested a lot of money out here, and I am sure they are looking for a return on that. Some attractions to bring more people in, but I hope they leave enough room for us to live here too. Well, obviously. McCann says this is his favorite project of all those pitched, and that he intends to be at Tuesday's meeting to throw his support behind the project. You're a resident person. What are your thoughts?
I wouldn't mind it. It would be nice to be able to not have to drive downtown to watch a sporting event, or to drive here where Friars Road, it's one way in, one way out. It's ridiculous. It takes forever to get in and out of there.
Well,
especially on packed days.
It's easier for you.
Oh yeah, it's a lot easier for me.
But let's just talk about having a new sports complex.
Yeah, as far as that, it's just such an odd place down in the South Bay, because it's on the water side of the 5, and on the other side is homes, trolley stations, hotels. So there's stuff there to do, but I wouldn't call that area of the South Bay like a destination place. Like there's going to have to be a lot of building of attractions to go to make something like that work, because there's not much that's already there.
That's exactly what they said about building a ballpark in East Village. Nobody went to East Village. In fact, before they built the ballpark, hey, nobody going down to the gas lamp neither.
And
look what they did.
Yeah, and they built attractions. They built a reason for people to go there.
Well, that's where you make your money on this deal.
Right, of course.
Every time I see deals like this, I mean, obviously it's like they build this, but then what they do is they go buy all the land around it, and that's where they make all their money.
Yeah, you're going to have to, that's the thing. There's not much there right now to be able to sustain its popularity and make it a destination place. But if you were to build around it and build up enough points of interest, restaurants, bigger hotels like the Gaylord, then yeah, I could see it. I could see it working, because there's a lot of ways over there, a lot of ways to get out, and it's right on the water. That's not a bad place. It's not a bad place. There's just nothing there right now. You have to have a vision for it.
Well, that's going to build up. But this is what they're going to build in phases here. Phase 1 is supposed to be a tennis center. a water polo academy, 300,000 square feet of retail. There's your development.
There you go.
700 hotel rooms, blue tech hub, and a 2.3-mile trail.
Blue tech?
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Maybe it's like ocean tech or something. I don't know.
Might be.
I don't know. I don't care to. If somebody wants to tell me what that is, go ahead. Phase 2 would be a 50,000-seat soccer stadium. It lists MLS, USL, Mexican League possibilities. You know what tells me about a 50,000-seat stadium? It doesn't tell me soccer. It tells me a place where you can have major events, which the county of San Diego is currently lacking.
And as a friend of mine just texted, it also smells down there because of sewage issues. So
maybe they'll clean that up.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
Maybe they clean that up as part of the deal. Anyway, the 50,000-seat soccer stadium, 2 more hotels in phase 2, 3 office buildings, community soccer fields. You can have tournaments and the tourism is through the roof on this place. Entertainment venues include Tiger Woods-backed Pro Stroke mini golf, as we mentioned, and a Paragon IMAX theater. The site was formerly home to the South Bay Power Plant that has and was once considered for a Charger Stadium. The development will require major environmental review, which always holds things back, and land use amendments. The Ports Board will vote on initiating the 6-month exclusive talks on July 15th, which is Tuesday.
And we do have the poll up on the YouTube side right now. Would you be interested in going to San Diego FC matches in Chula Vista? Again, this is just would you be interested in going? There's no rumors, there's no scuttlebutt. It's a 50,000-seat soccer stadium. Would you rather go there or Snapdragon? There's nothing else behind that other than would you want to go?
I think labeling it a soccer stadium or a football stadium or a specific sports stadium takes away from it's a 50,000-seat stadium.
Yeah.
The only one that needs its own thing is a baseball deal, right? But if you're building a 50,000-seat stadium that can host probably a lot of different things,
concerts, stuff like that,
puts San Diego on the map. So like San Diego State can just have their own building, probably be better for the grass. I still think the MLS will probably stay there because
I agree.
Smaller and it's easier to fill. And most MLS stadiums are around that size. But it really sticks out to me is the different things that you can host. And again, this is what the problem was that I had with the Mission Valley site in the first place is nobody in this town had any vision. Zero. It was always like, how is San Diego State going to fill that stadium? I don't care if they fill it or not. You need a stadium that fits the size of the city.
Yes.
If you build it, they will come. Well, I've been to Aztec games, and they've never filled that stadium. Stop thinking about just San Diego State for 2 seconds. Have some vision. You need a building that's big enough to host large events. Otherwise, you pigeon yourself into a corner, and you can't host anything. This is the first sign we've had any type of vision in something. Look, the NFL doesn't need 75,000-seat stadiums anymore. They've already announced that. 50,000 is good enough to host that. It's good enough to host the Holiday Bowl. The Holiday Bowl's got nowhere to go after they got rid of Qualcomm. They're getting worse and worse bids because they don't have a stadium big enough to host some of these big schools. You have a 50,000-seat stadium, guess what you could do? You could do a lot more. Anybody remember the Notre Dame Navy game a couple of years ago? You can't do that at Snapdragon Stadium. It's too small. You tell Notre Dame to come to San Diego, whatever, 50,000-seat stadium, they're more inclined to do so. You could do a preseason bowl game. Those are those neutral site games during the non-con, right? I mean, think about that for a second. Are you telling me that power teams in college football aren't going to want to come to San Diego early in the season? Or at the end of the season? It doesn't really matter. I mean, I know tourism, they're going to get tourism there and whatever. It gives you an opportunity to host major events. That's what you need to look at this as. Have some vision. Something that San Diego has never had. I'm going to say right now, something that San Diego as a city has never had. Vision. What were you going to say?
I was going to say the only thing that would be an issue with the soccer stadium or the 50,000 seat stadium down in Chula Vista is you are going to get competition from Snapdragon, because Snapdragon, it was said when it was built, it was built with expansion in mind. So if it needed to get bigger, they could make it bigger.
And maybe this will light a fire to make it bigger.
So to have two major arenas in the same city, that's the only thing that I would say is a little bit of a concern.
Hey,
for the new arena project.
For the new stadium project.
Yeah, for the new stadium project, yeah.
Again, this is not replacing the Midway District. This is a totally separate thing that could potentially bring more things to San Diego. And it gives you an opportunity to, I mean, right now you're in no position to have the National Football League. That should be a goal of San Diego's to get that back because of what it does to a community. But it's bigger for big pro sports teams.
Mm-hmm.
You do need an arena. That's a separate entity that I don't know what the update is on that. You know, if we get Jennifer on next week, we can ask her what the latest is on that. We haven't seen too many reports, so I don't know what that is. But if you could get a 50,000 seat stadium, you're back on the market to getting something. And that's what I like about this project. I don't live down there. It doesn't affect my life. So I can just say like, oh, yeah, I'm for it. Obviously, it might affect a lot of people's lives down there in Chula Vista, but I think it's great. And the thing is, it's a Chula Vista thing. This ain't a San Diego thing. You don't have to deal with the city of San Diego getting this thing done. And that is a group of people that have zero vision on making this place better. I mean, absolutely zero vision. Zero vision on an airport, zero vision on an arena, zero vision on a stadium. They keep acting like it's a small military town, which it's not. You needed the Padres going to the World Series to approve Petco Park. If they didn't do that in 98, who knows if the Padres are even still here? Which brought up a moment in time that I thought that I saw on Twitter that really sparked this kind of talk. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. I saw this tweet earlier. It kind of like sparked, and then I saw this news come down of this Pangea project down in Chula Vista. They want to build a brand new stadium and all this other stuff. They list it as a soccer stadium at 50,000 seats. I don't know what MLS team is going to have that, but I think the good thing overall is if this thing does pass and they end up building a 50,000 seat stadium, it brings in an opportunity for San Diego County to host major events. I think it's great for Chula Vista. I mean, that's their own city down there. They can do whatever they want, and they can vote for it. And I don't know what the rules and guidelines are of Chula Vista, but it's a 6-month negotiating process. If they get this thing approved on Tuesday, and they'll see if they can make this project happen or whatever. We'll have updates on that. We'll try to get Jennifer Van Grove on next week, probably later in the week, to see how Tuesday went down in Chula Vista. But if you're just tuning in, I mean, it's a complex that they want to build down in Chula Vista. It's a sports complex. It's very much tennis based first. But here's essentially what they would build. They'd build a tennis center, a water polo academy, 300,000 square feet of retail, 700 hotel rooms, some tech stuff down there as well, a 2.3 mile trail, 50,000 seat stadium, 2 more hotels, 3 office buildings, community soccer fields. They got to deal with Tiger Woods, his backed Pop Stroke mini golf they want to put in there, as well as a Paragon IMAX theater down in Chula Vista. And earlier this week, it's funny, I saw this tweet, and these pop up all the time, and it was, what is the worst moment of being a sports fan in your lifetime? And one of the guys that I see post about the Padres a lot, at Baja Bless 22, tweeted out the video of Marlon McCree getting the interception against the Patriots at Qualcomm Stadium in the divisional round and fumbling, and what would have been probably a game-sealing interception. I mean, I tweeted it out. I retweeted it and said, like, this play right here, if change, would have kept the Chargers in San Diego. We'll always believe it. I 100% do. And then somebody argued with himself in the comments about, like, well, it was no guarantee that they would. Whatever, dude. I'm going to tell you right now. It was actually said in the pregame by Marty Schottenheimer, not to Marlon McCree, but to other players. And it's chilling when you see the NFL films of that particular game. He's walking through the stretch lines, and he's telling, like, hey, man, when you get that interception to win the game, what are we doing? Guy says, getting down. I don't remember what Charger he was talking to. I know it wasn't Marlon McCree. So Marlon McCree gets the pick. He picks off Braden. There's like 6 minutes to go. Chargers had the lead. Earlier in the game, they had, Vincent Jackson didn't get his foot down for a touchdown. I mean, they had made a lot of mistakes, but that Chargers team was 14-2 back in like 2006. They get the game-sealing interception, and Marlon McCree fumbles. The Patriots jump on it. It's actually like a positive gain as well. They get a brand new set of downs. They go down, they score. Nate Kading misses a incredibly long field goal, which is probably makeable nowadays. And the Chargers go 14-2 and lose in the first round of their playoffs as they got the number 1 seed in the AFC. The next week, if they would have won, if Marlon McCree does not fumble that ball, Chargers go on to host Indianapolis, who they have owned. I mean, during the entire Manning era of the Indianapolis Colts, the Chargers owned him. There's no doubt in my mind that that team would have made the Super Bowl. That team was good enough to win the Super Bowl. But the thing is if they didn't, even if they didn't win the Super Bowl, just getting there, knowing the track record of what this town has been. Remember, the Padres got the new state. They got Petco Park because they went to the World Series. You can get people to vote on stadiums and everything like that and be willing to pay more taxes and stuff like that when you got to strike when the iron's hot. If McCree doesn't fumble, Chargers go to the Super Bowl, they're still here. I guarantee you. There's no doubt in my mind that wouldn't have happened. Because what would have happened in this fantasy land now is you play the what-if game with Marlon McCree in the world where he doesn't fumble the interception and the Chargers go to the Super Bowl, and even if they don't even win, They put a new stadium up on a vote. It passes. They're here forever. And you still got the National Football League here in town. So it's interesting that I saw that earlier this week, and then I saw the development for a new 50,000 seats. They say soccer stadium, but if you look at the MLS and you look at soccer in general in Southern in America, the 50,000 seat stadium is not for soccer. That'd be for something bigger. Be for something way bigger. We've seen the situation with the Spanos family and everything like that. And I'm not saying this stadium is the key to potentially getting the NFL back, but I tell you right now, it opens the door. And as somebody sent me a GIF when I explained that earlier, it was the scene from Angels in the Outfield where the kid goes, hey, it could happen. I think that's true. I know of people that have, been talking about trying to put a group together to buy the Chargers if they go up for sale and moving them back to San Diego. And the response all the time was where they play. If you have somewhere to play, it makes it a lot easier. So again, I'm not saying they're coming back. I'm not saying another team will come back. But what I am saying, aside from just the National Football League and the tees that might be available with a 50,000 seat stadium, it brings bigger events to San Diego. I think it's a win-win regardless. But it opens the door. It opens the door for either a team to come back. It opens the door for an expansion team. It opens the door for the National Football League to be here. It opens the door for college football to be more involved here. It opens the door for major events to happen in San Diego, because right now, as great of a stadium as Snapdragon Stadium is, and I think it's a great stadium, it's not big enough. And maybe by building this or saying to build this, maybe the plans to expand get put into effect if you're San Diego State at Snapdragon Stadium. I think only good things can come from this. I would love to have the National Football League back. When people always have, they'd ask questions sometimes and call in. If you could have any league in San Diego that we don't have, what would it be? NHL, NBA, NFL? The answer is NFL. I mean, the answer is flat out NFL every single time. And I know I'm a football guy, right? So it's biased. I'm the big football guy here on the station. But what the NFL brings is just it's so high level. It's Super Bowl back. I mean, think about all the events you can have here. I've talked about this so many times. I've been blessed enough to work multiple events here in San Diego, whether it be the winter meetings or the Farmers Insurance Open, the U.S. Open, the All-Star Game for Major League Baseball. I mean, think about the events that we've had with the limited buildings we've had. And every single one of them have said, we should do this here every year. I don't know. Maybe because it's awesome in San Diego all the time. I remember that article in Pro Football Talk a long time ago. It was a couple of years ago. And it was about they're going away from having these gigantic stadiums. They're more open to a 40,000, 50,000 seat stadium to host the NFL, maybe expand to 40 teams. This gives you an opportunity to do that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I do want to get to some of your phone calls. We do got to get to Drake, who's coming up. We'll take a couple of them right here. Let's get to Brett downtown. You're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, Brett?
Hey, good morning or good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For me, it's going to be that game 163 with the Rockies. That sent us from a NL West 05-06 into basically another 8 years into horrible Padre baseball. If we would have won that 163 Matt Holliday play, definitely feel like the franchise wouldn't have gone down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's definitely a painful experience. One of the most painful things you've seen. I'm telling you, I think the fumble by McCree makes it even more painful, knowing that if he hangs on to the ball, they're still in San Diego. As I went through that deal. Real quick, Brandon in Carlsbad, you're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's going on, Brandon?
Hey, what's up, fellas? First of all, honor and privilege. I'll make this quick. Hey, what's up, too, Frank? Shout out to San Diego City and San Diego County the second in stadium attendance for our Friar faithful and the Padres. That's just amazing. It just makes me so happy, just like you, Braden. Like, we dealt with a lot of stuff, you know. I'm 47, so I was there when the Clippers left, and we were all there when the Chargers left. So to see everyone backing up the Padres, filling the seats. Now, granted, I know it's a lot of people traveling, but that's just amazing. There's a lot of teams in baseball, a lot of great cities, too. The fact that we're second is just amazing. And hopefully by filling the seats, that pads the pockets. And then big ups to Peter Seidler, who's the one who shifted that paradigm. And not only wasn't just the product, just the stadium and the food, but now we have product on the field. So let's go get some dubs, you guys. Stay fired up. You know, hey, we're getting what we get right now. I think we're seeing a lot of consistency in the inconsistency, but I think we'll shift some corners. We have that talent. Stay faithful. God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. Go Pods.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate the phone call, man. We got to take a quick break. Drake Hills to give us our Soccer 101 when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, wrapping things up on a Friday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Final segment of the week. We always finish off the week right. Do a little Soccer 101 with our friend Drake Hills, who writes as a contributing writer for Black Players for Change, covering some soccer for us, giving us a scoop on what's going on with San Diego FC and beyond in the soccer world. And he joins us right now on the Braden Surprenant Show. Drake, what's going on? Happy Friday, brother.
Happy Friday to you. We're in the thick of summer soccer. We got the MLB All-Star week coming up, and then right after that, you got MLS All-Star week.
Yeah, it should be a fun time. And a couple of games next week for San Diego FC. They'll play a game tomorrow at Soldier Field against Chicago Fire. Then they'll play Wednesday against Toronto before playing next Saturday here at Snapdragon Stadium at 7:30 against Vancouver, number 1 versus number 2 again in the West. San Diego getting the better of Vancouver earlier this season. Let's recap last outing for San Diego FC. Had a lead against Houston, ended up losing 4-3. What happened in that game?
Well, they had a couple of leads that they coughed up, and it's typical offensive San Diego FC soccer. Great attacking soccer. Obviously, Milan Pawlowski, we've been talking about him all month, and rightfully so. In terms of the records, I mean, this guy has gotten quicker to 9 goals than anyone in MLS history. And he's just at 25 years old. And like we talked about last week, Braden, he's on loan. So you start strong after, I would say, a rocky defensive start where the front line for Houston just wreaked havoc all game, from Lawrence Anali coming in, and obviously Ezekiel Ponce, who wreaked havoc at the end of the game. It was ultimately a very rough game to look at for guys like Luca Bombino, Ian Pilcher. Obviously, they got a goal back because Houston scored, but they were offside. But ultimately, this game, Braden, is going to be about defensive mishaps, and particularly if you know how Houston is playing, particularly with a guy like Ezekiel Ponce, you cannot allow him to make a run with such a high line behind the defense, not once, but twice. The first time was the penalty that he had earned. Unfortunately, it was a kind of a nasty nose injury for CJ Dos Santos, the San Diego goalkeeper. But then the second time, in a very easy, slow-mo run of play, Houston just puts the ball in behind. Ezekiel Ponce runs onto it, scores in the 10th minute of injury time. This is a game that I think that San Diego could have easily held on for a draw, if not a win.
We're talking with Drake Hills, who is a contributing writer for Black Players for Change, as part of our Soccer 101 on a Friday to finish up the work week. So obviously the game against Houston didn't end up the way San Diego FC would like, especially at home. They're going to go on the road now to Soldier Field to take on Chicago Fire tomorrow at 5:30. What do San Diego FC fans should expect from Chicago FC tomorrow?
Well, Chicago is in that, I guess, that bottom of the tier, middle of the tier quality team. But they've got a decent record, especially at home. They're a little inconsistent. But what I will say, though, is apart from the Open Cup game that they played on Tuesday, they've been pretty competitive. Cincinnati, one of the best teams, if not the best team in the Eastern Conference. You played them close last Saturday, 2-1. But the Chicago team has wins against a team like Charlotte, who we talked about. And obviously, San Diego didn't have a good run not too long ago on the road. So they've got wins against Charlotte. They've got wins and really competitive games against teams like Orlando City. Don't think that Chicago is a pretty bad team. They're quick. They're able to score goals and also concede goals. So I think this is a favorable matchup offensively for San Diego. But ultimately, it's going to come down to that center back pairing, making sure that they are on the same page on the road and making sure that CJ Dos Santos doesn't have too much work to do between the sticks.
Drake, they've done a pretty good job of managing the international time frame for the soccer world in terms of staying afloat at near the top of the Western Conference. As we've seen this team play almost first half of the season in the MLS, what does San Diego FC have to continue to do to stay near the top of the leaderboard in their first year of soccer?
Ultimately, it comes down to health. And I know that's going to sound like an easy cop-out, right? Because just like any other sport, your best guys stay healthy, you have a good chance of winning games. But in this schedule where you have so much international duty that has been truncated into the middle of the season, whether it be Gold Cup, Anibal Godoy is finally back from his time playing for the Panama men's national team, and of course, guys who are playing in either international friendlies or what have you. But you got to remember, this team started without, for the bulk of, I guess you could say, a huge chunk of March. Obviously, with Chucky Lozano, he had that lower body injury, and they had to deal with that. And Anders Dreyer has rightfully stepped up to the plate, as has Milan Olaski in this summer. So you have guys that are able to step up, but it is clear that when you have Chucky Lozano, when you have Anders Dreyer, when you have Milan Olaski, when Marcus Ingvarsson is going to eventually get back into that stride, you have guys in the middle like Oni Valakari, who has been incredible in terms of creating and progressing the ball forward. Someone like Yepi Tverskov, who has been an incredible destroyer, what we call as a defensive midfielder, someone who really holds down the flank, protects the back line. Obviously, I mentioned Anibal Godoy. When you have your best guys available, that is going to propel you into that October, November. And obviously, they want to play in that MLS Cup in December, but that is ultimately what's going to keep this team moving forward.
We're talking with Drake Hills, contributing writer for Black Players for Change, who joins us each and every Friday to finish up the work week, talking some soccer one-on-one with him. We talked about Anders Dreyer a little bit earlier on. You mentioned his name. Currently leading the MLS MVP power rankings. What does Anders Dreyer have to continue to do to potentially be an MVP at the end of the season?
Oh man, this is a tricky one. And I'll tell you why. It's always tied to one, what type of position is San Diego FC in the Supporters Shield standings, right? That all-inclusive Eastern and Western Conference standing of who's going to be the best regular season team in Major League Soccer. Right now, you have to think about Nashville and you have to think about Cincinnati. We talked about how incredible of a year Cincinnati is. If they're not all around the best team, they're definitely top two. Pat Noonan and the crew, that they have done a great job in rivaling Columbus, who has really won that rivalry over the past couple of years, winning an MLS Cup and whatnot. But I think for Anders Dreyer, in addition to San Diego FC's success, he's got to continue putting in those assists. Obviously, he's been doing a great job on that front. I think he has a chance, but I want to say that as an expansion team, it is very rare to have a guy win the MLS MVP in year one. But that is an incredible testament to the recruiting and the overall interconnectivity, obviously, between Right to Dream up in Denmark, obviously, as well in Ghana, and then, of course, here in the U.S. So Anders Dreyer has been an incredible pickup, an incredible designated player. And I think he has a chance as long as he is helping Chucky and helping Milan and Marcus and some of the other guys score goals and score some goals himself.
Last thing for you, Drake. We talked about the last couple of segments on the show about the potential for a new soccer stadium down in, at least they say soccer stadium, down in Chula Vista as part of this big development project. They want to bring tennis, water polo, a lot of other things, some local soccer fields for the betterment of the youth. But even a 50,000-seat soccer stadium, what kind of major events do you think San Diego would be able to host if Chula Vista builds a 50,000-seat soccer stadium? What's your opinion on potentially a new stadium here in town? Is that something that San Diego FC could potentially rent out?
You know what? I really love, if I'm thinking about the connection to Cholos, right? Club Tijuana, who plays in the Liga MX, they are, one of the more popular teams in the Mexican League. Obviously, you have a ton of talent down there. We talked about Brandon Vazquez, who now plays for Austin FC, but came up through that area and played for a lot of clubs on both sides of the border, ended up playing for Atlanta United, went back to Mexico, played in Mexico a little bit, and has come back in MLS, Cincinnati, and now Austin. There's talent there. There's obviously an opportunity to play some, Braden, we need like a college football border rivalry title. We need something creative to think about when we're talking about San Diego FC and Club Tijuana or Cholos. I think that is ultimately one of the better selling points. But I would say that if you're thinking about the story that you have already started, playing in Mission Valley at Snapdragon, Wave is there, you're there. You're thinking about all the entire fan base that you have in North County and throughout San Diego County, East County. Yes, of course, right? South Bay is great for maybe regionalizing or globalizing your club from the pro level all the way down to youth level. But I just don't know how much growth you can get in terms of housing San Diego FC. However, I will say I would love to have an MLS Next Pro, that reserve team, that G League, AAA minor league team playing down there. I think that would be incredible for not only garnering more of a fan base down in the South Bay, but also, like I said, creating more relationships across the border.
Drake, appreciate the time as always, man. Look forward to talking to you next week.
All right, take care. Have a great weekend.
Well, Drake Hills, contributing writer for Black Players for Change, as part of our Soccer 101 each and every Friday on the show. We got a couple of minutes here, Frank. Is it time to throw Sam under the bus from here?
Do we throw Sam under the bus here?
I think we should.
Why are we throwing? I mean, I'm all
it's
for
the cooler
it.
packing, like the cooler thing.
Oh, that's Sam. Got it.
All right, so we've talked about how to pack a cooler. Now, Frank goes drinks, ice, drinks.
No.
Is that what you do?
No, it's ice on the bottom.
Ice on the bottom
with salt.
With salt.
Yeah, because it keeps the ice colder longer.
Okay.
Ice, drink, ice, drink, ice, drink, ice.
Have you done the technique of putting all of the? Now this is a big cooler that he's got. Did you put in the technique of putting all the drinks in, where you you open up one side, put your hand on the bottom, stack it all in there, and then do the ice around it, and then when it's time to drink, pull the sleeves out? Have you done that before?
No, I have not done that.
I'm going to tell you right now, you'll never do it any other way. But that's not what we're talking about. All right, so we got OTL tomorrow, right? Right? So I got 4 teams out there. And so collectively, I spearheaded everything. I put in the group chat, I need somebody to do cooler. I need somebody to bring, just to spread the love. I need 2 people to bring a cooler. I need 2 people to buy ice. I need 2 people to buy drinks. I need to do all this stuff to keep it fair and even. And so Sam decided, which is fine, to go. He's like, I'm just going to go fill my 100-quart cooler at Costco. Just let me know what you guys want. Okay, sounds good. So he fills the 100-quart cooler. Now, there's no ice in it yet. Got to fill it with ice and everything like that. But he went and bought all the stuff. So now instead of everybody bringing stuff, he just bought the whole thing. And then we're going to Venmo him $20. You follow so far?
Yeah, I got you.
So today, we are going to go hit at Fiesta Island. And so, and we know somebody down there we can leave our stuff with. Tomorrow, we're all going to meet and carpool down there. Well, Sam doesn't want to carpool down there. Sam's going to Uber there, but he's got the cooler. So he wants to bring it today. Here's where the problem lies. He says he needs help. And I'm like, okay, this is a big cooler, help loading in his car. But he needs somebody with a truck to bring the cooler down there. Because he doesn't want to bring his Tesla onto the island.
Okay.
And so the thing is, he went out and got the cooler and all this stuff, which we didn't tell him to do. And then he needs somebody to come with it. I don't have access to a truck today, and I am going down to hit. I don't know how this is anybody else's problem but his in terms of getting the cooler down there, because he could physically bring it down there today. He just doesn't want to drive. Is that a foul on Sam? I think that's a foul on Sam.
Sorry, buddy.
I'm just saying, dude. Like, I'll help you load the cooler in your car. We don't need to go, rent. You could bring any car down there. We'll talk more about this. I'm sure he's fuming now. I'll see him at 4 o'clock. I'll see you guys next week. See you, Frank. Quinn and Chris coming up next.